Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the running of this week's 100% Cup Series event. My name is Andre Granbush, bringing you tonight's action with 3WTV, and like always, we've got producer Carlos Acosta making sure that no race gets left unaired, no wreck goes
Whoa,
without replay,
okay.
and no overlay goes without
Whoa,
sarcasm.
Andre. Hold on there.
Storylines.
Andre, hold on there, my friend. What do you mean 3WTV? This is 3YTV. That's right, Andre and I are going to be bringing this race to you bumper to bumper, all the full-length race. That's right, we got you. You thought we weren't going to be doing race number 6, but guess what? We are. And Andre, I can't wait to see what these guys have in store for us tonight.
Absolutely. We got some interesting storylines coming along. You know, last time I called it 3Y TV, you said, no, it's 3WTV. So
I never said that. That's a bold-faced lie. You are a liar.
That is exactly what you said 2 weeks ago, Carlos. We got some interesting storylines coming up for sure. And before we get into that, let's go ahead and read off our starting grid. Minus a graphic this week, we apologize, but we're going to go ahead and get through this starting grid as quickly as possible so that you know where your favorite driver is going to be starting this event. On the pole this week, we got Jonathan Delaney in that number 9 car. And on the outside of row 1 is going to be Bryson Hixenbaugh. Now, something fun to note is that only 1,000th of a second separates those two. So 1,000th of a second was between pole and second place. That is absolutely crazy. Back in third place, row 2, you got Brian Branham and Wayne Grassi in fourth place. Row 3 is going to be Preston McCrae and Kevin Steele. Cody Bird with a fantastic qualifying effort, actually his best qualifying effort of the year. He's going to be starting P7. On the outside of him in P8, Cameron Stone, which kind of interesting, those two starting together this week after a bit of a run-in last week and some tough racing between them. Kind of interesting that they'd be starting side by side. Dustin Hall starting P9, Tim Rail starting P10 in his best qualifying effort of the season. Tim Rail's teammate, Chad Edwards, is going to be starting behind him in P11 alongside Brandon Hastings in P12. Bryce Hoffman and Adam Benefiel are going to make up the next row, 13th and 14th. Mason Lowry, Matthew Gaskins. Back to 18th, it's going to be Brandon Pierce and Stephen Parrott. 19th and 20th, it's going to be Raymond Root and Ryan McDaniel. And rounding out the grid from 21st all the way back to 30th, it's going to be Jacob Adams, Chris Landrum, Dalton Mobley, Chandler Hayden, Jacob W. Krause, Patrick Much, Devin Medeiros, Kevin Blackwell, Charles Eaton, Damaris Hickenbottom. Devin, I apologize if I mispronounced your last name. I honestly didn't expect any newcomers in this. I didn't read through the names. I apologize. Hopefully I got it at least close. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting show for sure. iRacing's made a lot of changes to not only the track model, but the tire model over the last couple weeks. And we're kind of going into Atlanta in a situation where a lot of these drivers don't know what to expect or what lines are going to be the fastest.
That's right. Yeah, Atlanta is going to be a different beast compared to the already beast that it is that we know about it. Since the last race, we have a new drafting package in general, and that's they pretty much introduced side drafting, and that's going to be a whole can of worms that these drivers are going to have to experience. We everybody's talking about side drafting in the plate races, but you side draft in these mile and a halves because. It actually means something entering the corners and the cars get loose and everything. But hey, look, we're in Georgia. We're gonna have some fun, and I got myself a can of this. We're gonna be cracking open a cold one with the boys today. Some sweet Arizona tea, some sweet tea, because we're in Georgia.
All right. Not sure that makes geographical sense, but we'll stick with it.
Well, the brand is Arizona.
Well, yeah.
I should have had it last week. Now that I think about it, I think the shipment's a week old.
Yeah, now see that would have made sense. That definitely would have made a little bit more sense. So lights are off on the pace car. We're only going to be making this one single pace lap. We've already got through the grid, so these drivers can get racing right away. And I got to say, I'm a little surprised. I think most by Cody Bird. He practiced a lot this week, and I practiced with him, and he was telling me he just wasn't confident in the car, and he was not expecting to do well. In fact, he said he might not even run Atlanta because he wasn't sure about the car. Then he comes out, qualifies in the top 10, and has a phenomenal qualifying effort. And then he talked to me a little bit in private messages and said, man, I'm kind of scared. I'm not used to starting this far up front. It's a little bit of added pressure. So we'll see if he can fight through that added pressure and the tenseness I'm sure that causes. But, Carlos, we're running out of 3 and 4, and we're about to get racing.
Yeah. Well, we heard it there this time, guys. Andre's pick is Cody Bird. So, Cody, you better step up or shut up.
I didn't say he was my pick, but we'll stick with that. As the pace car is making that the pace truck is making that hard left turn. Jonathan Delaney waited a little bit to get on the throttle and didn't quite get a jump Looks like Bryson Hixenbaugh in that 63 car is going to stay pretty much level with him as they go into turns 1 and 2. Brian Branham on that inside line right behind him, and already maybe seeing a little bit of that side draft effect as the 63 lost his run as soon as Brian Branham got up there. That's going to give Jonathan Delaney the lead. He's pretty much clear up into it, but now the 63 getting a run back up on the high side, it looks like. He's going to try to take that middle line, and again, a lot of these drivers not entirely sure what line is going to be the fastest. And honestly, what lane is fast early on in the run may not be the preferred line as the tires start to wear. So these guys are just going to have to figure it out. It's going to be a learning experience the whole time as Bryson Hixenbaugh makes a huge run through the trial on that outside lane. He actually gets the advantage.
Oh, we got a wreck going on. Caution.
And the yellow flag has flown.
Seeing Jacob Adams. Ooh, I'm seeing Chandler Hayden. I saw a couple drivers. Yeah, that 48 has a bunch of. That 48 is missing a front bumper, maybe a rear bumper too. Yeah, I saw a couple drivers going down Pier Road, and I thought it was kind of weird. And then we saw a couple guys crashing in the force. Of course, the yellow flag came out, but let's go ahead and take a look and see maybe what possibly happened. Andre, what are you getting over there in your neck of the woods?
Well, I haven't seen too much. We're gonna take a look at this replay, and looks like the 48 was kind of 3 wide there with RJ Root, and oh yeah. Car got into the outside wall, kind of pinged off of it.
Oh, no.
Oh, a lot of cars with nowhere to go. Look at that evasive maneuver,
who was
though.
that? We're going to find out who that was.
Wow.
But, heavy contact for a bunch of these guys.
If we can find that on board, that'll be...
Yeah, they're done.
That's rough, though. Like you said, lap 2, and already a few drivers with pretty much their nights ended with terminal damage. That's one of the things you're going to see at a track where the drivers aren't really sure of the conditions. Sometimes they're going to get in over their heads a little bit, make some aggressive moves early on, and then suddenly the car just isn't with them. You know, it starts sliding out, and bouncing off the wall is something that happens very easily as we ride on board here. Just watch this evasive maneuver as he's coming up through the tri oval. Chaos breaking out in front of him. He sees that smoke, doesn't know where to go with it. But like days of thunder, he is able to weave through it. What a move.
Ooh. Lots of damage for a lot of these guys. I'm seeing Gaskins. I believe he may have been the one that started the incident. We got RJ Root, Jacob Adams, Chandler Hayden. Let's actually go and see what happened to Chandler there on that incident. Let's go on that gyro cam and see just what happened to him.
One of my favorite cameras available. Shows you all the elevation changes and banking on the track. And here, going to get a good look of just absolute pandemonium breaking out in front of this 33 and just nowhere to go. And he could have went high, he could have went low, but ultimately it wouldn't have changed anything. There was just cars all over the track. And unfortunately, that might be an early end to his night as he is currently in pit road.
I do got to talk to you about something you just said. I don't think the gyro cam shows us elevation changes.
Well, not here maybe, but at road courses. It's a fancy way for bumps, Carlos. Fancy way to say bumps.
Okay.
That's what I was getting at.
I'll give you bumps, yeah.
Man, see, when Carlos is in the booth, you don't just get the snark in the overlays. You get it in the booth, which I think is better.
Well, yeah, because I can't do the snark on the overlays while I'm doing the snark in the booth. It's I'm not quite in that level of human. I can't multitask.
You're not a robot like Bryson Hixenbaugh, our current leader.
No, I'm not. But how about Bryson Hixenbaugh? Hasn't had the season started like he's wanted to compared to last year. How many wins did he have last year?
Yeah, he finished out last season with 15 wins to his name. The closest in win count would have been Cameron Stone with 7 wins. So just a little under half, I believe, of Bryson's wins. So when you double the win count of the next guy behind you, you know you're doing pretty good. But this season, like you mentioned, not starting out the way he wanted to. He's had a few good runs where he swept stage 1 and stage 2, but it all seems to fall apart usually in stage 3. We've seen him and Adam Benefield get together a couple times, a little bit of contact that kind of moved that 63 out of the way. And this week, I know Bryson was coming in very determined to try and get that win. And with Adam Benefield qualifying a little bit further back, it could be Bryson's night. But we're just going to have to watch it play out as he gets on the loud pedal. The green flag is being waved. And unlike Delaney, Bryson Hixenbaugh is going to get a huge jump on this start here. And behind him, side by side, Brian Branham, Jonathan Delaney. And I'm noticing, Carlos, it looks like that outside line on the restarts is actually a little bit more strong than I would have expected because Jonathan Delaney was able to get around the 74 on that high line, and that's exactly what the 63 did to take the lead on the initial start. So I'm kind of watching that high line early on because I think as the race goes on, that's going to come in even more.
Oh, for sure, especially at a track like this. The when the Gen 6 was introduced back in 2013, one of the key differences that a lot of people and drivers noticed was that you kind of wanted to be on the outside on the majority of the racetracks. It just the way the car was designed kind of made it so that running on that outside line would just give you a better restart in general compared to being on the inside line, and that's kind of what we started seeing when drivers would elect to restart on the outside line, and we're still seeing it to this day, although we are still in the Gen 6, but then next year in the Gen 7, we're going to see how that car affects the restarts.
Yeah, that'll be a whole new ball game when the next gen car comes into play and kind of changes up the driving style, I'm sure. But Jonathan Delaney actually set that overtake up on the high side. He was looking up high through 3 and 4, got a huge run. Then he was able to kind of dip down low and fake out the leader. He got to his quarter panel. He was able to complete the passes. They went through 1 and 2. Now again going through 3 and 4. He's actually going to get clear of the 63. 63 getting another huge run. It looks like the draft is really coming into play. It seems like as soon as somebody gets behind another car, they get these huge runs and they got to figure out where to take them. So not only the side draft, but just your average everyday slingshot draft seems to be maybe a little bit buffed as we roll through the here. Behind the leaders, Brian Branham is still in 3rd place. He's dropped back a little bit, about 7 or 8 car lengths to the car ahead. 4th place, Wayne Grassy. He's having a pretty good night early on here, up inside the top 5. And Carlos, we've seen some good runs early on from Wayne Grassy. It seems like he struggled with the long run speed a couple times this season. And of course, Phoenix, he got involved in a bit of a spin with Cameron Stone. I'm sure he's probably not too pleased about that. But I'm kind of keeping an eye on Wayne Grassy. I think if he can carry this early momentum throughout the rest of this event, he could be here in the top 5 when we get to the white flag.
One of the things that was noted in the team, not the team, the league Discord, is that a couple drivers aren't necessarily taking off to this new package, the way this new package handles, and we could maybe see a couple of drivers who we weren't seeing run up front start running up front. We're seeing John Delaney currently in the lead now. John Delaney, no slouch. He's always finishing 3rd, at the exception of last week, but. Maybe this could be the time that we're going to be seeing John Delaney win 15 races in a season. We're seeing Brian Branham, Wayne Grassy, who you mentioned, even Kevin Steele's been running in the top 5 this early in the race, which is very, very good for him. But we'll see what these guys can do, and more importantly, we'll see what how the front pack normally drives and how they're doing with this new package change.
Absolutely. It's going to be a learning curve. They're going to have to try and adapt and figure it out as the night goes on. And speaking of Kevin Steele, your Daytona 500 winner, he's been looking to get that elusive 2nd win ever since Daytona. Back at Phoenix, had an unfortunate incident with his teammate. Cameron Stone got loose coming down the straightaway, kind of lost control, fishtailed it all the way down the straight into the entry of the corner, where ultimately he slid into Kevin Steele. And those two... they're teammates and they're good friends off the track, but after that, they weren't exactly on speaking terms for a couple days at least. So I'm sure Kevin Steele driving a little bit more motivated this week.
Yeah, I'd like to point out on Kevin's bio, and I have not changed this since I'm talking. I'm not going to be updating. So for the people who have not updated themselves on the app, it's just going to say race car driver. He's updated his, and it says his dislikes are pickles, small dogs, and air. So. I disagree with the small dogs. My sister has a little pug, and I love her. She's amazing. So we disagree there, Kevin. But pickles, I'm kind of okay with you. Sometimes I'll choose to not eat pickles on my burgers. What about you?
I disagree with the dogs as well. I got a Chihuahua. He is
nice.
Just the best dog on planet Earth. He is just so calm and very, very loving. Some small dogs are just fantastic, but the pickles, I do agree. It seems like a lot of the foods you put them on, they tend to overpower the rest of the food.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just all you end up tasting. So yeah, I tend to opt out of those unless I'm looking for that taste. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. But
yeah, speaking of overpowering, sorry about that. But speaking of overpowering, Adam Benefield has moved up 5 spots since the start of this race. Currently in P9 is just past number 1 of Dustin Hall. So maybe looking to see Adam Benefield getting himself back up to the front. Looks like this new package change isn't really affecting him like we thought it would affect others.
Right, and I was kind of surprised by his qualifying effort. Adam Benefield, he does usually have his speed in race trim. He's not exactly a Ryan Newman who goes out there and gets the pole every week, but he does usually qualify a little bit better than he did this week. So I was a little bit surprised by that, and I was curious to see if he was going to pick up the pace a little bit later on in the race, if that car was going to come to life like we've seen so many times out of those Team Conti machines. They always seem to have those long run setups. And like you pointed out, I think we're seeing exactly that. He's moved up quite a few positions. I believe right now, don't quote me on this, I could be wrong, but I believe he's the biggest mover of the race at the moment. And he is trying to sneak. Oh, go ahead.
No, he is not. Jacob Kraus, number 29, has gone up 10 positions. He started the race 24th. He's currently 14th. That's your biggest mover of the race so far.
Wow, that's a lot of positions to gain in just 17 laps so far. That is impressive. Derek Kraus, he had a pretty good run last week, I believe, at Phoenix until an incident removed him from the race. I believe it was him. But he had a lot of speed last week, and I know a lot of people were impressed with him. So good to see him carrying that speed into Atlanta and making some overtakes. And so far, denying Adam Benefield of that biggest mover title. So going back to Adam Benefield, he got around Cody Bird. And Cody was actually able to kind of pull the crossover on him. He got past, got the run with the draft and a little bit of side draft, got back around Adam Benefield. Then Benefield passed him back, so they were trading off that position repeatedly before Benefield was able to finally pull away. And, Cody going into this race and last week even, he said, I'm going to start driving more aggressive. I'm not just going to roll over and let people take the positions. And it looks like that's exactly what he's doing. The fact that he was able to get back around Benefield, even if it was just for half a lap or so, shows that he's really getting out there and being a little bit more aggressive, which I think we all know. When it comes to stock car driving, you got to have a little aggression if you expect to get good results. And Cody, so far, he's dropped back a little bit from his starting position, but he's still having a good race. Adam Benefield, he's a driver who has done the opposite of dropping back. He is actually closing in heavily on the cars ahead of him. Preston McRae is going to be the car closest to him with a gaggle of 3 cars up there. And once he gets around them, if he can, that's going to put him up inside the top 5 already.
Yeah, while you were going through that, we're watching a battle for 4th right now between 4 drivers, funny enough. But one of the things I did want to mention is, we talked about Jacob Kraus, biggest mover of the race. We're at Atlanta. It could be that Jacob has a really, really fast car and just maybe either messed up in qualifying or wanted to qualify in the back. But realistically speaking, I could maybe put money on the fact that if I say maybe one more time, I'm going to get sued. But he could just be pushing his car really, really hard, either on purpose or accidentally, because one of the things we see in Atlanta is we see, especially the rookies, the young drivers in real life, they'll go through the field. They'll start running up front. And then after a couple, 20 laps or so, they're going to start dropping all the way back because they didn't take care of their tires. So I'm going to keep an eye out on Jacob to see if maybe that could be the case. But, it's Atlanta. It's not like you're just going to be taking off for no reason.
Absolutely. I mean, this track is notorious for eating tires, pretty much more so than any mile and a half on the schedule. Maybe more than any other track on the schedule, honestly. I remember I was talking to Damaris Hickenbottom, the driver of the 09, one time, and we were talking a little bit about Atlanta back. This was, of course, before iRacing made a few changes, but even then he said, with Atlanta, if you can go 10 laps without feeling any fall off, you're doing a phenomenal job of saving. And most tracks, you don't really start noticing the fall off till 15, 20 laps in. But here at Atlanta, like you said, you go 10 laps without noticing the fall off, and you must be doing something right, because for most drivers, they're going to start feeling that car start to fade within 5 or 6 laps of their run. So Adam Benefield right now just overtook the number 7 car, Wayne Grassy, and he's actually going to get to the inside of Brian Branham, and that's going to be the move for 5th if he can take it. He's down on the bottom. That 74 has the run on the high line. It's like the 83 is going to drive up high, try to arc the corner entry. Now down on that white line, he's getting a good rotation through the center. That's going to put him level with that 74, nose to nose, door to door, coming down the backstretch. But now the advantage goes to Brandon. He carried that momentum out of turn 2. And coming through 3 and 4, Benefield's going to try the same move right down to that white line. Fantastic rotation through the center, but here's where Brandon might get the run. Benefield's going to have to throw the block, and he doesn't. He actually stayed low.
Yeah, we're like 25. No need to accidentally wreck yourself this early. We're not going to be seeing Benefield give up that spot or give up that outside line with like 25 to go. But in lap 25, I see no reason for him to just go all the way up, especially since everybody here can tell that Adam Benefield's going to be pulling away from Branham. And as a matter of fact, since he passed Branham, actually Wayne Grassi is not battling on the inside side by side through 3 and 4. Interesting to see for sure, and glad to see these guys are kind of doing their best they can to take care of their vehicle. We already have minimum of 4 drivers that are out of this race right now. Chandler Hayden, Pat Mouch, Mooch, Jacob Adams, and Dalton Mobley are all they've taken their vehicles to the hauler.
All of those drivers involved in that, I believe it was lap 1.5 incident.
2, I think it was lap 2. May have been lap 1.5.
Might have been lap 1 coming to 2. Regardless, involved in the early accident, and unfortunately, an early end to their night, if I could speak properly. Just a rough situation, but I got to think that maybe that wreck and that event kind of played into some of these guys' driving style right now. Maybe a lot of these guys being a little bit more patient than they otherwise would, because they saw what happened early on. They know what happens if you push these cars a little bit too hard without having the experience of how they handle or how this track is going to behave with this update. And so now they're just kind of taking it easy, getting a feel for the car, and feeling things out. And I say taking it easy, but they're also out there competing. They're going to take a position if the opportunity presents itself, if they can make the overtake. But they're just not being super aggressive about it quite yet. And like you said, it's early in the race, and then you tack on the fact that they don't really know exactly what these cars are going to feel like as the tires wear, and that's going to result in maybe a few patient drivers out on track.
And we're testing out kind of a new package that we're kind of using as more of a stability thing, since our old graphics package is kind of having issues. Working closely with the packages that ATVO has released. So it'll be look a little bit. We're trying to change things up a little bit, but we're using kind of their base code, and looks like we're still running into a little bit of some issues, such as, for example, Pat Mooch. Currently he's being shown as out, but he's on track running laps. So I do apologize. He's not in the whoa. He almost went to the garage again there. But yeah, Pat is still running out there.
Yeah, he's definitely running out there. That was a close call, but a good save for sure. Looking a little bit further up through the field on your screen right now, that is your leader, Jonathan Delaney. But just behind them, you've got Kevin Steele running in 3rd place, so he has secured a podium position. And behind him, you got Kevin Steele's teammate, Cameron Stone. Again, these two involved in an incident late in the Phoenix race. These two driving bumper to bumper, probably working together a little bit, just trying to ride with one another and kind of wait things out. They can see out their windshields. They know that Hicksonbaugh and John Delaney are kind of checked out for the time being. So these guys know they're in a good spot right now, just right inside that podium and just outside of the podium. As I say they're riding, there goes Cameron Stone actually making a move on his teammate. He's down to the bottom line. He's going to slide up on corner exit, maybe attempt a side draft. It's not going to work. Sliding back up to that top lane, he's going to regroup, maybe try it again as they go through 3 and 4. You can see that 57 poking his nose down low, but Kevin Steele this time, he said, nope, you ain't trying that again. He dove down low, running a bit of a bottom lane, which he hasn't really been doing these last few laps. Mostly he's been running the high side, so maybe a little bit of impatience on Cameron Stone. He wants to get going.
Depending on the way that you build the setup, because remember, for the people watching who are not familiar with the 100% Cup Series, this is an open setup league. So these guys are running their own custom setups, either through a team or they'll purchase somebody from a setup shop. But in general, they're running their own setups for these races, and the way that they're could be set up could maybe determine just where they can run. In fixed, from the laps I've run this week, it's a little weird. Cars are a little loose. It can maybe run the bottom for a couple laps, and then you kind of want to really work that outside line, especially with that new those new parameters that iRacing has changed up. That makes riding on the outside line effective again. Or effective now. I don't remember if it was effective ever, but so some of these guys we'll be seeing if they're going to be going from the bottom to the top, or some people are going to be running the top exclusively, or if some people are just built to run the bottom. We're going to be seeing for sure.
Absolutely. And another thing to keep in mind is for Cameron Stone, if he's got a short run setup and he knows his car is about to start fading real soon, then it's go time. You don't want to ride behind a guy that has a long run setup who might be a little bit slower than you early in the run and kind of waste your car, in the period of time in which it's fast. So if you have a short run setup, you kind of have your hand forced where you got to try to make the move, got to try to get around those guys that are slower in the short run, build up a big gap, and then later on when your car fades and they start to come to life with those long run setups, that's when you start playing the defense. But you got to be up front to begin with to play that defense. So maybe that's what Cameron Stone is doing. And actually, it's worth noting, ever since he got around Kevin Steele, as you can see on your screen, not only has Adam Benefiel also caught up to that 24, and he's now making the move on the low line, but Cameron Stone has actually pulled away quite a bit from his Apex teammate there in that 24. It's about a 10-car length gap, and he is actually lapping a little bit quicker than Bryson Nixonbaugh up there in second place. So it's a minute difference. It's about 0.003 of a second last time across, but Cam is a little bit quicker. We'll have to see if maybe he can run the leaders down as we go on board with Bryson Nixonbaugh. You can see that's the difference in second place and first place. John Delaney running that high line, and Bryson opting to run a little bit lower, maybe trying to get that clean air through the corner. And what you saw when Bryson Nixonbaugh came out of turn 2 is he kind of drifted up towards that outside wall at an almost alarming rate. But one of the things that iRacing has done recently is they've kind of implemented a cushion of air around the wall that sort of repels you, almost like it would in real life. So one of the things that Bryson was telling me pre-race was that you can exit low and almost throw a slider up towards that wall and rely on the fact that the wall is going to catch you and you're not going to hit it. Now, obviously, there's a limit. If you slide up too fast, if you push the car too much, you're still going to hit the wall. But it's a little bit more forgiving than it was. And it looks like that's the line that Bryson's preferring, as now we got a battle breaking out, Carlos, between Adam Benefiel and Kevin Steele.
Yeah, these guys have been going at it for the last 3 or so laps, with Adam running that inside line. It's still early to tell to see if maybe that's where Adam's car actually wants to run, or if he's going to be killing his tires. And then if that's the case, then Kevin Steele just needs to hang on there on the outside line for a couple more laps. Usually in tracks where tire wear is important and you want to run the outside line as much as you can, you really don't want to dive down to the inside unless you know for sure you're gonna make that pass, because the harder you turn the wheel, the more it's gonna wear out and you're gonna be dropping like a rock pretty soon. But already 40 laps into this race, we've had a caution on lap 1.5, but the only drivers that did go down pit road were drivers who had issues, who were involved in that incident. So these guys are still running on the laps on the tires that they actually started the race on.
Absolutely, and I believe we're going to see a pit sequence probably begin somewhere around lap 45 to lap 55, depending on how these guys want to stretch it out. It is going to be a bit of a gamble, I think, to take a short run or a short stop strategy. I've always been a big fan of the undercut, trying to get the fresh tires as early as possible, but sort of like Phoenix last week, I just think that this is one of those tracks where the risk involved is pretty high. This track's not as short, so you don't necessarily risk going a lap down, getting trapped down there, but still, the difference in speed from fresh tires to worn tires, that can definitely play into this. So we're going to have to see what these drivers do. And drivers like Adam Benefiel, they might be kind of forcing themselves into having to take tires sooner than everybody else, because you mentioned Adam's been running that low line pretty much all night long, and it's not just when he's trying to overtake. Even when he is in clean air, because he did get around Kevin Steele. He's now up into P3, I believe. I'm sorry, P4. And after he got around Kevin Steele, he's still running that mid to low line. He's not quite running the wall like the leaders were. So you can see coming through 3 and 4, he's going to dive it right down to that white line. He's got nobody around him, so he seems to be doing that quite by intent. And either his car is set up to run that line, or he knows that he's already used and abused his tires, making all these overtakes. And now he's just getting every last drop out of him he can before he's got a pit.
Interesting to see. He's kind of running that middle line. That's kind of what I was doing when I was running Fix. Not to say these are the same exact setups, because they're not. But I did see a lot of drivers kind of running that. Well, now he's at the bottom, but that last corner, he was kind of in the middle between bottom and outside line. But that outside line, it's fun, but at least for me, I'm not a championship contending driver. It's scary. It's very scary indeed.
Atlanta's scary, man. This whole track, everything about it, the fact that it wears your tires so quickly, the fact that the car gets so loose The fact that that outside wall tends to jump out and bite you, it is a stressful track to drive, especially on longer runs. And, well, you don't get much longer than a 100% distance race, as we're going to have tonight. And speaking of the race distance, just to kind of give the viewers at home an idea as to what's going on with this event. Stage 1 is going to be lap 105, so quite a lengthy stage 1, and then stage 2 is going to be lap 210. From there, we're going to be green flag, hopefully, all the way to lap 325, which will be the end of the race. So with 105 laps in stage 1, that would mean to split this stage in half on tires and fuel. You would have to pit somewhere around lap 60. Well, lap 55, we'll say. Technically it'd be like 53.5, but we'll say 53, and that's well past the sell-by date on these tires. We'll say there's a little bit of a near incident there ahead of Preston McRae. Close call, but everybody got it sorted out. Yeah, these tires, man. Go ahead.
Sorry, one of the things people say is in races like this, you're not pitting for gas, you're pitting for tires.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're more concerned with tires.
Okay, all right. Well, that 81 is all over the place. We saw him scrape the outside wall the last lap, and then this time by, he rode that outside line so fast, he got a little loose and had to chase it around the backstretch just a little bit. That aperture signs number 81 is pulling away, but I don't think he's pulling away based off of speed. I think he's pulling away based off of fear, that the other guys are afraid that he's gonna spin out, so they're backing up a little.
We've seen plenty of drivers intimidate the guys ahead of them, but it's kind of rare that we see the drivers intimidate the guys behind them.
Don't get close to me. I blow up under pressure.
Oh man, that is funny, but that's unfortunately the second week in a row for Brandon Hastings where his car just has not been, I think, where he wants it. Brandon Hastings, being a part of Team Conti, he is by no means a slouch. His performance these last 2 weeks have not been indicative of his skill level. He's a great driver, but these setups have been absolutely fighting him tooth and nail, and for whatever reason, it seems like they just haven't been able to get that magic setup that gets the car where it wants it. I was talking to Adam Benefiel a little bit in regards to that team setups. Usually, the Team Conti guys are going to run slightly different setups from one another. They're not going to run the exact same setups, and that makes sense because you don't want every single driver to have the same setup when every driver is going to have different preferences. But in regards to Hastings, Adam said he doesn't really like a loose race car. He doesn't like a car that's trying to spin out on him at every single turn, and unfortunately it looks like that is exactly what he's been dealing with these last 2 races.
That's the case. We got one of these drivers down pit road. That's the number 6 of Chris Landrum, that old Mark Martin looking number ride. Number 6 machine. I see some damage on the side, and may not have overshot. Okay, no, yeah, overshot the pit stop. I was gonna say for sure. Possibly did not overshoot the stall, but he was way too close to that wall.
Now, the left side tire changers.
I don't remember if this was a thing before or if this was in a different game, but I would remember driving too close to that wall, and then it'll say you're too close to the wall, and then they would only take right side tires. I don't know if that was ever a thing in iRacing or if that was just from NR 2003, but I remember that.
It is definitely a thing in NR 2003. I actually experienced that just the other day. I've been playing around with that simulator quite a bit ever since I got my steering wheel. And I had that happen. I got 2 tires, and I was like, why didn't I get 4? And then I looked at the replay, and I found out why. I'm not sure if that was a thing in iRacing. It might have been early on. I don't think it's a thing currently. I think if you're too far left...
No, it's not currently, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll just make you move and tell you, well, you got to get further right, otherwise we can't give you 4 tires. So that is what happened there, unfortunately. And as to that right side damage, I think that's going to be a reoccurring theme tonight, Carlos. I think we're going to see a lot of drivers with mysterious right side damage because these cars on corner exit, they're going to go from loose to evil tight, right back to loose as these tires wear. It kind of fluctuates back and forth from my experience driving these cars, and I actually got to run the exact setup that Cody Bird is running tonight, and that is exactly how it felt. It was loose for the first 10 to 15 laps, then it got real tight from like lap 15 to lap 25, and then after that, it was back to being an ice rink. And speaking of Cody Bird, there he is making his way down pit road, as well as Matthew Gaskins. Matthew was involved in that incident early on in this race. Fortunately, was able to get a lot of that damage repaired. Now he's making his way down pit road alongside Brian Branham, and the pit road getting pretty busy. I'm not exactly surprised. I said between lap 45 and 55. Well, lap 52, Seems like a lot of drivers making their way down.
Yeah, of course you'd be right when you give yourself a 10-lap buffer, but we'll see, we'll see. Of course, it doesn't hurt that these guys had about 3 or so laps under caution conditions, under pacing conditions. So their tires, had there not been an incident, we probably could have been seeing these guys 3 or 4 laps earlier. But right now, pit road is open, and these guys they're getting ready to shop.
Absolutely. You know, Carlos, if you cast a wide enough net, you can't miss. So I'm going to make a prediction for stage 2, and I'm going to say that they're going to pit sometime between lap 105 and lap 215. If I'm correct, then I'm a strategical genius. I think
Yep.
strategical is a word I just made up. So,
No, that's a real word, I think.
all right, so I'm on point. I'm not making up words yet this week. We'll get to that point, I'm sure. But looks like the number 12 car, Devin, he's making his way out of pit road as well. He's got some mysterious damage on the rear end of that car, as well as the right side. And Kevin Steele, it looks like the number 23 machine that's piloted by... Well, actually, no, I don't see a 23 listed. I think I might be seeing the wrong paint scheme. But a lot of cars. There comes your previous race leader, Jonathan Delaney. He got a little bit sideways on the pit road entry there.
Just a little, but that's just usually telling you that he's going fast.
Yeah. Well, there's one place on this track you don't want to go fast, and well, that's it.
For sure, yeah. You don't want to speed down pit road, especially when you're running well in the front. That'll ruin your race. Of course, we're lap 55. It's still we're about halfway done. We're over halfway done with stage 1. If you're gonna speed in the race, you gotta do it early. You can still recover this early on in lap 55. If you speed with like 55 to go, I think your race is done.
Yeah, you can't speed too late. Early on in the race, you can maybe make stage a recovery and see what you can do. But yeah, you have an incident in pit road late in the race, and that could be your day over. And that's exactly what happened to Jonathan Delaney last week. He was leading the race with only a handful of laps remaining. Caution came out for Cameron Stone, and everybody made their way down pit road. Delaney thought he was going to pass the pace car. He was afraid of getting a penalty for passing the pace car as he made his way down pit road. So he got on the brakes. Unfortunately, got on the brakes a little too hard. Adam Benefield had nowhere to go, pushed him through, and the number 9 car got an unsafe pit road entry, had to serve a black flag. So I would imagine the number 9, Jonathan Delaney, probably being a little bit more cautious than last week on pit road and trying to make sure that he doesn't accrue any penalties, especially with his car being as fast as it is. That's the thing, man. When you got a car like Delaney's where it seems like you can just go out there and you can outpace anybody around you, what your race comes down to is you. How consistent can you be? How calm can you keep yourself? And how few mistakes can you make? And pit road is one of the easiest places on the track to make a mistake. It's easy to speed by just a couple miles an hour, or to miss your pit stall and have to put it in reverse, or to be too close to the pit wall, as we saw earlier with the number 6. So Jonathan Delaney, I'm sure, just trying to keep himself calm and collected as this race goes on. And right now, the driver that's inherited the lead is Dustin Hall. And behind him, you got Chad Edwards.
Oh, overshot it.
Dustin Hall down pit road, and yep, that's a big overshoot. That's going to hand the lead off to Chad Edwards, unless he's also made his way down pit road.
Yeah, he already did. Yeah, Delaney is going to be your current leader right now. He actually, I'm not sure if he led that lap, but he is in the lead right now. Bryson Nixonbaugh, about 0.8 of a second behind. You're going to be seeing up there showing 0.8 of a second behind than Adam Benefield, Kevin Steele, Wayne Grassy. So not too sure to see how some of these spots shook around, but Adam Benefield plus 11 spots from where he started. And then trying to take a look at some of the other drivers, see who's the biggest mover right now. Ripley's, believe it or not, it's still not Adam Benefield. Your biggest mover is Damaris Hickenbottom, currently up 12 spots in 17th.
Wow. Yeah, Damaris started towards the back.
Okay, never mind. He got passed. Now it's a 3-way tie for the biggest mover between Benefield, Hickenbottom, and Pierce. Oh, sorry, Blackwell, not Pierce. They're all plus 11.
So, a lot of overtakes so far. I mean, that's honestly crazy that we've had so many cars gain so many positions this early in the race. And Damaris looks like he's finally got a setup that he is kind of jiving with right now. He's said all year long that the setups just haven't been something that he's been able to figure out. He's been struggling with the car. He was talking about how last season he felt like he was a contender to win week in and week out, and this season he felt like a backmarker. But with the setup looking pretty good this week, this could be his day.
It could be for sure. Of course, he is currently in 18th place. So not necessarily in the spot that he wants to be, and he is one lap down. But it's still very early on in the race. They got about 44 laps to go until the stage break, the end of stage 1. And, he needs to be on the lead lap for him to continue this, for him to continue being in the race and just maybe give it a shot to see if he can get up any higher. Because if you're stuck a lap down, or even worse, more than one lap down, then doesn't matter how fast you are. If you can't unlap yourself, you're gonna be stuck there in whatever spot you are.
And just an update on Brian Branham, who was running really well earlier in this race. You saw him battling for a podium position. He actually got DC'd from the lobby and had to reconnect. So that is a disastrous turn of events for that 74 machine. And heartbreaking, honestly. I mean, he was having the run of the year so far. I mean, he was up there battling with the leaders, had a lot of good pace. And you just hate to see something like that happen on a night like tonight.
Yeah, it really is tough. And I've been a victim of getting DC'd, even though my internet connection is generally really good. Or maybe not really good, but like it's stable enough. So I had gone through issues like that. Even got to a point where, and this was fixed by turning off IPv6 on my end, but it got to a point where after a while, especially on league races, I would always just get DC'd for no reason. I would just lose connection, and it got to a point where I got frustrated and I stopped league racing because there's. Why am I practicing all these laps to be running decently and then get disconnected once every single race? Every once in a while, that may not happen in the race, but in like 5 races, I would get disconnected 4 times.
It's definitely one of the most frustrating things as a sim racer, or really a gamer in general, no matter what game you're playing. If you're having continual connection issues that don't seem to be on your end, and it seems to be something that's just either with the simulation or with your internet service provider that is kind of out of your hands, it is absolutely frustrating. And unfortunately, it struck at the worst possible time for Brian Branham. He has manually disconnected after reconnecting, so I'm going to take that as a sign that he is taking that car behind the wall, maybe not rejoining, but we'll keep an eye out for him. Right now, you're looking at the onboard for Bryce Hoffman in that number 21 car. He's a race car driver. Didn't update the bio. He's told me about 10 times that he was going to do it. Never did. So
come on,
clearly we're organized over.
Dustin, we're on race number 6. Get it together. We don't know when we're going to broadcast the next one.
Absolutely. Like, he's had a while to do it, but he's too busy. Bryce Hoffman's been too busy with his feud with Pit Road. A lot of drivers have feuds with other drivers. Bryce Hoffman, he has a feud with Pit Road. He told me going into this race that the only thing he was concerned about beating was Pit Road. He's had, I think, at least 1 Pit Road mishap per race this season. And one of the times it's actually kind of comical.
That's not a number you want to be leading at.
No, it's not. And like I said, one of the events was kind of comical. I think it was back at Daytona. We panned the camera over to him. I said, "Yep, that's the driver for my team, Loudmouth Motorsports." And he immediately slid past the stall and nosed it into the wall. And
oh man,
I haven't let him live that down yet. So he's just running his laps. Go ahead.
Yeah, when 3Y TV started, we did a series of it was the league called the 3Y Racing League, no relation. But we were doing their preseason kind of development series. So we were testing it out. We did it for free just because we wanted to see if we could do this. And we were at Dover, and we were just by chance following one person as he tried to go down pit road, just messed up and went like full speed into like the middle of the those barrels in the front where Kenseth hit back in like 2003. And we were just dumbstruck. We stopped talking. We were all like, we stopped talking, and then we just started laughing because of what we saw. It was embarrassing.
The old Ryan Truex tactic, hitting those sand barrels. It happens every so often, but it's never any less amusing when it does, for sure. Going back to the race, on your screen right now, that's Jonathan Delaney, who has currently marched himself up to a 1.3 second lead as they cross the line. And as they cross the line this time, we'll see what the update on that scoring timing is. Is he pulling away? Yes, he is. 1.4 seconds. So about 1/10 of a second faster that lap in second place. Adam Menifield's all the way back in third place in about 6 seconds. Whoa, as the leader gets a little loose there. Adam Menifield 6 seconds back but closing. He is turning some pretty quick laps. The car ahead of him is Bryson Hixenbaugh, who just ran a 31.696, and Adam Benefiel ran a 31.5, so about a tenth quicker than the car ahead. Unfortunately for Benefiel, if he's going to make the move for second or maybe even the lead, he's going to have to pick up the pace a little bit more than that. He's only got about 35 laps to go in this stage as he crosses the line. So he's been on the hunt and he's gained a lot of positions. And even if he doesn't get there this run, Carlos, when that stage caution comes out, he's restarting up there either on row 2 or on row 1, depending on if he can get around Hixenbaugh. That's gonna be something to see because he's had a lot of speed all night, and then he's gonna have the track position on top of him.
That'll be interesting for sure. Sorry, you caught me at a really bad point. I kind of have the hiccups right now, and I was like, "Oh, please continue talking." But I think I'm fine now. I think I'm good now. Yeah. So also new for today, we're just putting in there. We got the gap ticker, and we also have the interval ticker. So if you're looking at the top part of the screen on the horizontal ticker, and you're wondering, well, how is this person 3 seconds back, but the person behind them is only 1 second back? That's the Formula One style interval ticker. So the number you see is however many seconds they are behind the person next to them in position. So that's where you're going to be seeing the numbers kind of all over the place.
I love that style of scoring and timing. I've always kind of liked the way that Formula One did that. It's kind of neat to see it in this broadcast. I did notice that. And yeah, it kind of makes it a little bit easier to get an idea for where everybody is on track in relation to one another, I think. Definitely a cool system. But the camera's focusing on Cameron Stone. I almost said Camera Stone because I cannot speak properly. It's focused in on Cameron Stone. And actually, Carlos, I forgot to tell you about this before the broadcast, but Cameron Stone has opted to be our in-race reporter, and he has given me express permission. He said, as long as he's not too close to somebody else, we can pull him into the booth at any given time, green flag racing or not. So later on in the race, once he gets a little bit further away from these guys at some point, we can feel free to bring him down. Right now, he's in a battle.
Let's bring him in now. He's like right behind another guy.
Yeah, no. We're not going to do that right now. That would be a bad idea. But I wanted to get that out there and mention it now because I was going to mention it earlier and forgot because my memory is fantastic. So, yeah, Cameron Stone currently in a battle with the number 7 Wayne Grassy. That would be for 5th place if he was able to overtake him. It looks like he might be able to. His car's starting to get a huge run out of the corner.
There he goes.
Puts the bumper to him. I think there was some contact there as he swerved down into that inside line. Now they're going to go into 1 and 2 side by side.
If there was contact, it really wasn't much. They were already exiting. They were already past the exit of the corner and kind of getting into that whole dogleg, or it's not a tri-oval. What's it called over there? The quad oval, right?
Technically, it's a quad oval.
There we go. That's what it is. Yeah, quad oval. Well, I, from my point of view, I thought the 57 got real loose, but no, he was just going down into the corner. But yeah, no, they're fine. They're going side by side. This is not going to be good for Cameron Stone's tires, though, if he keeps on going side by side, being on the inside. He needs to pass that number 7 very quickly, or drop back and get in line with that 7 and then try to make another run again. This is
right.
This style of racing, it's kind of like Martinsville, where you don't really want to spend too much time going side by side. When you want to pass somebody, but you need to build up the momentum. The best way to pass somebody in races where you're always running the outside line and Martinsville is to get a run on the exit of the corner, and then like right when you're exiting the corner, get to the quarter panel, and then use the forward momentum and your late braking going into the corner well, maybe not braking in these tracks for the Martinsville, but yeah, and then the momentum, you should be able to get to the inside line and be able to clear them on the exit. That's how you want to pass in Martinsville, and that's kind of how you want to pass in these races where everybody's stuck to the outside line, just minus the braking.
Right, and that's kind of a hard skill set to attain. It sounds like a simple concept. If you can't make the move, back up and try again. But when you're a race car driver, backing up isn't exactly something that comes natural. You want to be, go. Try to get on the attack all the time, 24/7. And like you said, at a track like this and at tracks like Martinsville, it's a different style of racing. You can't necessarily afford to be on the attack 24/7. You have to try to get that overtake done in one swift move. And if you can't, then you got to bite the bullet, let off that throttle, fall back in line and regroup. So that's exactly what Cameron Stone has done. He's kind of backed off a little bit. He's riding behind that number 7 car. And I think it seems to be benefiting both of them. They're not too far behind Kevin Steele, who's only about 5 car lengths ahead of him. There is a lap car, I believe, separating them. but they are closing in together, the number 7 and the 57. I think maybe Cameron Stone has a little bit more pace, but it's just not enough to get that overtake done, and it's not that much of a difference that he's losing too much staying behind the 7. So these two working together pretty well right now. Seems to be working out for him pretty well. And a little bit further up the grid, Carlos, Adam Benefield is continuing to close the gap to
And I have
Bryson
an announcement about him.
It is now about 3 seconds between them. 4 seconds between them, I'm sorry. So he has closed in a lot to Bryson, but with 25 laps to go on the stage, it's clock is running out.
I have an announcement to say about Adam Benefield. All right, already 80 laps into this race, he's gone up plus 11. He is still not the biggest mover of the race. That has gone out to Jacob Kraus, plus 13. Jacob is on a roll. He's currently 11th. Oh my goodness, that's 21 of Bryce Hoffman. Almost went for a ride into that inside wall there, which would have been embarrassing because we would have just been focusing on him when it happened live. It looks a little washed out. Is it done on purpose, or is there like an alpha layer that's been forgotten?
Well, so fun fact, that is the scheme he ran at Miami, and he made it to look like it had been sitting in the sun too long.
Yeah.
And then he has forgotten to change the paint scheme for the last 2 weeks. So so he's still running it.
Oh man.
So in a way, I guess it has been sitting in the sun too long. I mean, about 2 weeks too long.
It's more than 2 weeks, isn't it? This is race number 6. Miami was race number 3.
Right, yeah, so it's been 3 weeks that it's been sitting in the sun too long. Oh, man. We're picking on you, Bryce, but we love you. I gotta say that he's my driver. I can't pick on him too much.
Love is a strong word. Acknowledge.
We tolerate you, Bryce.
Yeah. Lap 83 here. We have about 20 or so more laps until the stage break ends at lap 105. Not really much going on in the front, with the exception of Kevin Steele and Cameron Stone. Actually, pardon me, Cameron Stone did go by Wayne Gracie. It looks like it finally happened and he's pulling away. But Kevin Steele and Cameron Stone, that's going to be a battle happening very, very soon. Adam Benefield is in third, but other than that, I'm not really seeing any other battles that could be happening, except for maybe a small battle for 10th. Not really. No, I apologize. I was reading my information there. A little incorrect there. Bryce Hoffman is behind, but Bryce Hoffman in 12th is currently 1 lap down. The leader has lapped all the way up to 11th place. And we currently have 24 drivers on the field right now, out of a total 29 drivers. 28 drivers did start the race. Dalton Mobley was not able to post a lap. Not sure if he missed the race start and just decided to back out, or if he had an issue there to begin the race.
Yeah, not entirely sure on that front, but Jacob Kraus is right in front of the leader, as you can see on screen. He is the next car in danger of going a lap down, so Jonathan Delaney probably going to be trying to navigate him as smoothly and quickly as he can as the leader in this kind of situation. You're just hoping everything goes smooth. You just want to get around the lap traffic, don't want to make too big of a fuss out of it. Try and keep the momentum and then turn some smooth, consistent laps. And so far, that's what Delaney's been able to do. He's actually stepped out to a 2.24 second lead. Last time we checked in on the lead gap, it was about 1.4 seconds, so he's gained another second as now he goes around.
We have a driver crashing, RJ Root. Green flag.
Oh, man.
Let's go back and see what happened there.
A lot of damage to that number 8 car, because he comes around, I believe that's turn 1 and 2. It's on the outside and just tagged that wall and bounced off of it hard into the inside wall. And he hit that inside wall so hard, he just about flipped it.
A lot of damage for that number 8 machine. I don't know why I said 2. Kind of looks like a 2 there. But yeah, he is currently in the garage. They have to take a tow to pit road. Also in pit road is Chris Landrum, although he drove there manually. The number 6 machine. He's been struggling today. He had some right side damage, and you can still see some right side damage, but not a good day for Chris. And unfortunately, we also have people cheering on for RJ Root in the chat there, with somebody saying no, or I'm assuming it was no with more emphasis on the no, like a bad things happen. Unfortunate night for RJ Root, going to be finishing this race really early, currently in 24th spot, and I'm not seeing any other driver on the track that's beneath on 25th and down, so it looks like he may be finishing 24th overall.
Unfortunate night for RJ Root, and he's really had some fantastic runs over the first 5 races of this season. Uh, I've talked about him quite a bit, and he's got a lot of camera time because I've just been massively impressed with some of the top tens and top fives that he's been able to accrue. And another thing I always liked about that number 8 is the paint schemes. I actually complimented his paint scheme in the Discord before the race, and I was looking forward to seeing what he could do tonight. Unfortunately, that outside wall doesn't have a favorite driver. It doesn't care who you are, and it jumped out to bite him. So I'm noticing a lot, Carlos, that when these drivers get into the outside wall, it seems to kind of ricochet them down towards the inside wall with a lot of force. I mean, that's what happened to Gaskins and caused that incident within the first 2 laps. And that's exactly what happened to RJ Root. So I got to wonder if maybe that's something to do with the pocket of air up there that iRacing has kind of introduced that is meant to repel you.
I don't really think it's that. I know when, especially for the vehicles that had the new damage model. One of the things that was introduced when that came out is the walls kind of like stick to you, or you stick to the walls kind of like glue. So a lot of drivers kind of been getting used to the fact that once you hit the wall, you just want to turn the wheel all the way to the left to try to just get out of it, and then turn it right back straight so that you don't actually spin out. And since these cars don't have the new damage model, they had it for like a couple days, and then they removed it. But yeah, since these guys don't have the new damage model, you don't necessarily need to do that. So I think that maybe he hit the wall and then just turned it left all the way, but then the car actually continued. And in fixed, these cars are very loose off, especially if you're trying to run that outside line. So add that to the equation, and I think it's just a case of maybe trying to prevent something, but ended up just making it worse.
Absolutely. It makes sense. You get used to driving for one damage model and one sort of contact model with the wall, and then it kind of changes. They revert back to the old one, and your muscle memory doesn't update quite that quick. You're still used to doing it the way you used to, and that could be exactly what affected those guys. And like you said, the cars are very loose on exit. You never really know when that car is going to get grip and then just shoot down the track like the number 8 did. It just seems to happen. You're sliding, and then boom, you get grip. And sometimes it happens at a very inopportune time, as we saw. But right now, Jonathan Delaney still holding on to the lead, 2.2 seconds. So Bryce Nixonbaugh has closed in about 0.2 of a second. Adam Benefield kind of stagnating at about 5.2 seconds behind the leader. That's where he's been for, I'd say, about 20 laps, give or take. There is some intervals between Hixenbaugh and Delaney. You can see Delaney was faster on laps 89 and 90, but all the way up through 91 through 93, Delaney was actually a little bit slower. So
looks like maybe slower, Bryson, but that lap 90 was really good for Delaney.
Yeah, he actually gained a 10th there. I'm not sure what he found, but I'm sure he's trying to figure it out as well, because that was quite the lap there to get 1/10 on second place there, especially with how worn the tires are at this point.
That's true, and if we were to get a comparison, actually, I think we can do this just about now. Hold on, let me see if I can get this thing up and running. I'm still trying to figure out all of this, but let's go ahead and switch this on over to the best lap. And then on the horizontal ticker, let's take a look at the last lap. So Jonathan Delaney's best lap is a 30.110. That actually may be the fastest lap of the race. I'm not sure. But it's going to reroute around here, and currently 32.4. That's a 2.2 second difference there, as we have 10 to go on this stage. But 2.2 second difference there. That's a lot of time, my friend.
Absolutely, especially when you consider back at a track like Auto Club, we were seeing about 1.5 to 2 seconds difference between old tires and fresh tires. They're not even done with this tire run, and they're already up to 2.5 seconds difference between fresh and old. And it just goes back to what we were talking about at the top of the broadcast, Carlos. This track eats tires, and it never stops. And depending on what your setup is and how you drive this track, you can really either speed that process up or try to slow it down. But for the leader, I mean, you kind of don't have much of a choice. You can only ride and run as easy as the guy behind you will let you. If you got Bryce Nixonbaugh behind you or Adam Benefield, and they're applying the pressure and they're saying, "Hey, I'm going to overtake you, I'm going to pass you," then you gotta push that car and you got to stay ahead. You can't really focus too much on conservation. Alternatively, if you're in second or third and you're following the leader, you can kind of set the pace a little bit. Maybe don't go on the attack, don't force the leader to overdrive, and in doing so, you're kind of saving your own equipment for later on. So that's kind of the mindset that these guys have. and it's something they got to think about as they go through these longer runs that we've had. I mean, we really haven't had a caution for cause since that early incident. We did have the 8 car. I almost said 28. And, you know, he got into the wall, but no caution there. It was a single car incident. But other than that, we've had a long run here, and these guys are having to adapt to these tires.
This is the closest battle we have on track right now. Cameron Stone and Kevin Steele trying to get it's going to be a battle for fourth there between these two guys. And unfortunately, the third place is about 10 seconds away from that. So I think this is pretty much the only battle we have on track going on. Actually, no, there's a battle for maybe ninth. Yeah, Mason Lowry and Preston McRae, but up close, Kevin Steele and Cameron Stone are going at it for sure. And actually, you can see there, we on the side there, Cameron Stone was gaining on Kevin Steele until about a couple laps ago. He actually lost a lot of time, and that could have been due to the fact that you know, aero's such a big thing, and he getting right up to the, you know, behind the number 24 caused him to maybe not necessarily calculate the exit angle and just lost some time there, giving the 24 good distance. But now he's there, he's trying it again, and looking on the inside with only about 5 or 6 laps to go in this stage.
And he didn't run his teammate very high. You know, he got to the bottom lane and he just immediately stuck there. Usually, if you want to make that overtake on the bottom, it would be ideal to take the car that's on your outside, run him as high going into the corner as possible, and try to pinch him up there, and then drive down that banking and make the move. But these two being teammates, I don't see them doing that to each other. They're going to race each other as clean and fair as they can, especially after last week and the aggravations that kind of boiled over, I'm sure. They're probably taking it a little easy around one another. And Cameron Stone, I think, at this point does have the faster car, but he's just going to have to wait it out like he did with Wayne Grassy earlier in the race and just see if that opportunity presents itself. If the door is opened by Kevin Steele, if he makes a bobble, if he can get to the inside or the outside. But that's just something that he'll have to wait for as we approach lap 102. Actually, I believe the leader has taken lap 102. Mm-hmm. So getting incredibly close to that lap 105 stage 1. Jonathan Delaney looking to make himself the stage 1 winner. But Bryson's actually continued to close in over these last few laps. He's brought it down to a 1.9 second lead. And if he had a few more laps, he might have something for the leader. But not enough speed right now with the time remaining to get up there. So if I'm Jonathan Delaney, man, I'm just focusing on being consistent, taking it easy, hit my marks, don't mess up.
Yeah, I just don't think there's enough time for him to get there, unless Jonathan Delaney messes up or traffic in front of him causes him to slow down. I just don't think there's enough time. 1.7 hasn't been gaining that much. It's kind of inches right now.
Absolutely. Just not enough time for Bryson, so for John, like I said, just focus on that consistency. And if you're Bryson,
no traffic.
Finishing second place in the stage isn't bad. You know, finish second place, get those stage points, and maybe a first row starting position depending on your pit cycle. And Jonathan Delaney, spike up on Mountain Dew.
I think he meant to write spiked up, but he forgot the D.
Oh man, oh John. Well, you know, who needs grammatical correctness when you got the race lead, though, Carlos?
And you know, I'm always behind the booth when I see his picture, but I don't know where you got that picture. That's not Jonathan.
It's not?
No. Here we go. That's lap on stage number 1.
Jonathan Delaney, the race leader, has taken the white flag for the stage. He's going to make his way through 1 or 2 way down low. He actually might have scraped that apron a little bit. Luckily, that part of the body panel I don't think has collision detection. Otherwise, he might have scraped it a bit. But he's going to make his way down the backstretch through 3 and 4. And he's going to claim himself a stage 1 win here at Atlanta, it looks like.
It looks like that's going to happen for sure. Congratulations, Jonathan Delaney, winning stage number 1.
And something to note, Adam Benefield got around Bryson Hixenbaugh for second place in the stage.
Oh, interesting.
Not entirely sure how it happened. There was quite a gap between them just a couple laps ago.
We'll have a replay for that. We'll have a replay for that.
Either Bryson took it easy or Adam hasn't been showing his cards. And I know Benefield is one of those drivers, man. You can't trust what you see out of Benefield early on, man. He could have an extra 5/10 in that car. He won't show it until there's about 10 to go. So,
and they're going an extra lap. Caution's not out yet. There we go. Caution's out. They want an extra lap there.
I think it just took a long time. I believe the rule is that 10 cars got to cross the line for.
Oh, that's right.
The stage lap. and 10th place was actually 26 seconds behind. So
you're right,
that
exactly. Yeah, there's only
almost
10 drivers from the lead lap. But let's take a look at that
yeah.
replay and just see how number 83 went by this 63. Going into this final corner, 83 just drives it in there. Oh my goodness. It can't believe it stuck. Oh, lap
That car
traffic.
looked
Oh
dialed
my
in.
god. He used him as a pick.
Oh, Bryson nowhere to go. I mean, he had to lift right there. And Adam Benefield expertly using that lap traffic. I mean, you couldn't have played that any more perfect if you wanted to.
All
As
right,
the
here we
leaders are
go.
making their way down pit road, Jonathan Delaney, Adam Benefield, Bryson Hicksonbaugh. There'll be a lot of cars going around one more lap because they are a lap down. Pit road will be open to them next time by. Kevin Steele a little bit further back with Cameron Stone, Wayne Grassy, all the leaders getting their 4 fresh good years in the fuel. As Adam Benefield's going to be the first to reach a stall. He was qualifying a little bit further back, so his pit stall is going to be kind of hard to identify. That's one of the disadvantages to not getting a great qualifying effort is try to find your pit stall in this sea of crewmen waving the signs around, trying to signal their driver, and you don't know where you're at, and it's hectic. But Adam Benefield with a flawless pit road entry and exit. Jonathan Delaney with that first pit stall, he's going to get right out of pit road. Adam Benefield is going to keep that second place position ahead of Bryce Nixonbaugh. Kevin Steele, Cameron Stone going to maintain their positions as well as Wayne Grassy. So no shakeups on pit road. Everything remaining pretty much as it was.
Yep. No complaints about that. Mason Lowery still on pit road, Dustin Hall pit road, Brendan Hastings pit road. Of course, they were multiple seconds back. That number 81, I believe that 81 may have been the lucky dog. He's currently 11th, and we had 10 drivers on the lead lap when the caution came out. So we should have 11 drivers now. Currently being shown maybe 12. Oh yeah, no, yeah. These guys also need to go down pit road. But for the record, we should have 11 drivers on pit road unless somebody decides to stay out. But at Atlanta, it doesn't matter how good your car is, you have to go to pit road. You can't just hope for a caution, because if you don't get that caution, you're gonna find yourself 2 or 3 laps down, very quickly.
Absolutely. Well, the lights are still on the pace car. We got another time we got to go around. What do you say we have a quick word with our stage winner, Jonathan Delaney?
Yeah, let's go bring up Jonathan Delaney, see what he's up to.
Jonathan Delaney, this is Andre in the booth with Carlos. You got a copy?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, John, it was a fantastic stage one. You got out front. You never looked back. Bryson was closing in on you a little bit towards the end of the race, but just not enough time. How's the car feeling today, man?
Not too bad. I'm struggling a lot with tight on entry. So I made a pit stop adjustment there, hopefully to help that. That I think that's the reason why Bryce was starting to run me down there. But no, car's good. If we can keep it in clean air, I think we'll have a decent shot at the win. But I know Adam, he was flying there at the very end of that long run there, so he'll be one to look out for.
All right, so you're saying Adam has that long run speed. You feel a little bit more comfortable about mid run. It's going to be an interesting dynamic to watch play out. Before we let you go, what's your strategy going forward? Just going to try to keep up this momentum?
Just try and keep the clean air, like I said. That's really, I think, if we have a shot at winning it, that's what we got to do. Keep the clean air. Just be perfect, have perfect strategy, not hit the wall in 1 and 2. It's very easy to do. But yeah, that's my game plan for now.
All right, John. Well, the lights are off on the pace car. We're going to put you back up in your team chat. Thanks for giving us your time, and good luck with the rest of the race, man.
Yes.
That was Jonathan Delaney. Carlos, I'm going to need you to put him back up in his team chat. I can't quite scroll up for some reason. It won't let me. It'll let me scroll down with him in the drag, but it won't let me scroll down, unfortunately.
I'll see if I can move him. DGR, right?
Yeah, DGR.
All right, perfect. He's there.
Yeah, all right.
That's how we communicate mid race. You just don't normally hear me.
yeah. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, my Discord is not very friendly when it comes to scrolling. I can scroll down.
Not very friendly or
exactly
lazy. That's what I call it.
Either one. Either one. But the lights are off on the pace car. Jonathan Delaney, like he said, he's going to try to keep that clean air, but if he's going to do that, he's going to have to get the jump on the 83. Adam Benefield, he's going to be as far up the grid as he has been all night on this restart. There goes the pace truck. 83 trying to get level with the 9. Jonathan Delaney on that loud pedal. He is going to get the jump. He is a car length and a half ahead of second place. So he got the clean air he needs. Now he just got to play defense as Bryson is going on the attack. He's going to maybe put the bumper to Benefield. He does.
Wow.
Benefield a little bit sideways, and he's going to drop back another position. Kevin Steele goes around him.
Oh, we got to take a look at that one again.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see that again. So you can see as they go into 1 and 2, the 63, he's down there. He's got the run. Benefield just a little bit squirrely. You got to think maybe that's a little bit of payback. Adam Benefield has moved Bryson from the lead in, I believe, the last 2 consecutive races. So maybe Bryson just getting a little impatient.
Yeah, that could be the case, and I don't know. Still very early in the race, so not sure if he did that too soon. But we'll see. We'll see what Adam's gonna do. Adam going from 3rd all the way down to 6th. That's a loss of 3 spots, and nope, he's still not the biggest mover of the race. That title still goes to Jacob Kraus, who's plus 14 in 10th place. Only 11 drivers on the lead lap. Oh, I apologize. 10 drivers on the lead lap. New fastest lap, Bryson Hixenbaugh. And Bryson Hixenbaugh is coming for that lead. He's right there, right up behind that number 9 machine of Jonathan Delaney.
That 63 is on rails. I got to wonder if maybe he didn't make some pit road adjustments there, Carlos. Maybe some tire pressure changes, maybe a track bar change, something like that, because he has had an incredible amount of short run speed. And that might be another reason. You know, you talked about how maybe he moved Benefield a little bit too early, and I kind of agree, but at the same time, if you got this short run speed and you know you have it, you got to go. You can't waste that short run, and you got to make all the overtakes as quick as you can. So Bryson Hixenbaugh is going to get around the number 9. He's going to get the lead, and he's going to have to play some defense, though, because Jonathan Delaney and that number 9 Mountain Dew Code Red machine, beautiful scheme, by the way. I love that shade of red. He's going to try to get a run through 3 and 4. Not quite going to stick, and I got to wonder if, Delaney, he talked about how he needs to keep the clean air. If he wants to win, he's got to be in clean air. Maybe that setup he has just is not built at all for the dirty air. Sometimes when you make a setup, you have an option. You can build that setup to kind of compensate for the dirty air if you plan to be in traffic a lot, and make that car a little bit looser so you maintain your rotation when you're behind somebody. The payoff or the trade-off for that is that when you're in the lead with a setup like that and you're not in dirty air, the car can feel a little bit too free, a little bit too loose. But if you want the car to feel good in clean air, then it's going to feel miserable in dirty air, and that might be what Jonathan Delaney is experiencing, because he was a rocket ship out front, but now that he's behind Bryson, it doesn't quite look like he has the car to pass him right now.
Yeah, speaking of rocket ships, we saw him dropping back a little bit in the start of the race because of the current leader right now, but Adam Benefield is looking to be no slouch. Wow, I'm sorry, did I hear that right? Did he turn off his engine? Let's go on board and see if he does the same thing on the beginning of the next corner, but I could have sworn I heard him turn off his engine. Hold on, let's take a listen here. No, he's not turning off his engine. He's just backing off in the middle of the corner. So it's a little weird, but it just doesn't make sense for him to be saving fuel at this point. You know, we still have another stage. And the fact that the way the drivers are splitting it up, they're splitting it up halfway. We saw that in stage 1 and stage 2. It's the same length. If anything, it's like 5 laps less. So it's about 100 laps, just because of the fact that laps don't stop counting under caution. So 5 laps less, 100 laps in this stage. They're going to be splitting up around lap 50. Honestly, that's what I'm thinking. So apologize for thinking that
Absolutely.
he was turning off his engine, but no, he's good. He's kind of trying to make his way back up right now, currently in 9th, in 5th, plus 9 spots. Adam Benefield trying to get back to where he was and maybe pay a little payback to Bryson.
Well, and you're absolutely correct that it would be strange for somebody to be saving fuel this early on, especially when they're probably all planning to split the stage in half. But on the flip side of that, it's Adam Benefield. And you never know what to expect out of that 83 car, man. He does some weird stuff behind the wheel. That team does anything and everything they can to get an advantage. And if there was a situation where the 83 felt like his car handled better with more fuel in the tank, with a little bit more weight in that rear end, I could see him doing something like that just to save the fuel for the extra weight in the car, man. Like, that is the kind of driver Adam Benefield is. He'll do anything and everything for just a little bit of an advantage. So currently he is trying to run down to 24. And not being super successful in it quite yet. He's just been lingering about a tenth of a second, 0.2 of a second behind him. I think he has a faster car, but we've seen it time and time again, Carlos. That dirty air is a menace, and you can be, 0.2 of a second faster, 0.3 of a second faster than the guy ahead of you. But then you get to his bumper, and all that speed is gone.
Yeah, it's true for sure. One of the things that I gotta be honest with you, when I started that sentence, I had no idea where I was gonna go. I had something I wanted to say, but then you kind of kept them going a bit longer, and it just left my mind. And then you passed it on to me, and I was drawing blanks. I had no idea what to talk about. I'm still trying to remember as to what I wanted to say earlier, but I can't still. So yay for my crappy brain. Anyway,
Well,
Kevin
see, now you're in my world.
Yeah,
You're in my world, Carlos. When I open my mouth, I never know where it's going.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's the problem with me, and that's why I end up with a lot of ums and ahs and a bunch of well, this is how it happens. But I usually open my mouth and I don't know how I'm gonna finish the sentence that I started. So I guess my ex was right.
But do you know what to do with your hands, though, Carlos?
Well, the thing is with me, I have to push a bunch of buttons to make sure everything's working here. So there is no point where my hands are not moving. So yes, I do know what to do with my hands.
So at least you don't have the Ricky Bobby problem.
Yeah, no.
But another person who doesn't have a problem right now is Adam Benefield. He was actually able to. That's a fantastic segue. He's actually able to get around Kevin Steele in that 24 car. He made the move on the high side this time, which we've seen a few passes on the high side. And it does seem to be the preferred line for a lot of these guys. If they can run the top, conserve those tires, and carry that momentum out of the corner, it's kind of a win-win-win situation. But with Adam Benefield, oftentimes we see him run that bottom line right down on that apron. So for him to make an overtake on the top side, again, that is Adam being the enigma wrapped in a riddle that he is, where you just never know what he's going to do, what he's capable of. You can never make a prediction with this guy, because now he's making a pass on the bottom, and his car seemed to be just as good down low as it was up top. He got around Cameron Stone, no problem, and that's going to put him up into P3 with only, I believe, about a 2.3 second gap back to Jonathan Delaney. And speaking of Jonathan Delaney, we've been looking a little bit further back through the field. As you can see, our onboard with Cameron Stone, new appreciation for Vegas in his bio. Jonathan Delaney is actually making the move on Bryson Nixonbaugh. He's trying to get the lead. He's done this a time or two. He's not quite been able to get the run out. That high line, the advantage that you get is that all that speed that you give up going in and in the center of the corner, you get back and more on corner exit. You carry that speed all the way down the straightaway. You can get that run, and that's how you kind of play your defense. So Bryson has been doing a good job of that. He's been running that higher line, and so far it's worked out for him. But I'm impressed with Delaney. Even in dirty air, he's been able to stick with the leader, pretty much running in time with him, and just kind of trying to ride and wait for the opportunity to make the pass. But I gotta wonder if maybe Jonathan Delaney is running that bottom line in an effort to get out of the 63s draft, to try to get that clean air, and maybe he thinks that's worth it versus taking the high line and saving the tires. He can get that bottom line, get the clean air. It's a bit of a trade-off, though, because he is burning those tires up pretty quick. So
no, it is very hard do this, but it is possible to still take care of your tires while still running the inside line. You do need the whole racetrack, however, and you probably won't be really putting yourself in a passing position, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. So, I mean, yeah, what you could be saying is true. It could also just be that maybe Jonathan Delaney doesn't have that strong of a short run car, but then again, we also saw what happened in stage 1. He took off and he kept on going. It was kind of towards the end of the run, at the end of the stage where they were starting to catch up to him, but he was still really, really far ahead. So I'm not sure. Maybe now that Bryson has it, and with the way these Gen 6 vehicles are with their big ass spoilers, I remember what I wanted to say now. Yes. Okay. Hold on. We have to go back to Benefield. We were talking about Benefield, and you were talking about how it would have been strange if he was saving fuel, but I was in my head. I was going, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you probably do want some more weight in the rear, because what you do is those big ass spoilers. You want to keep those spoilers down to the ground as much as you can. When you're low on fuel, that spoiler comes up. That whole bottom end of the car comes up, and it's it adds some extra drag. So keeping more fuel, trying to save some fuel could be beneficial. But of course, we're talking about very, very small numbers that play very, very that affect even smaller ranges. So who knows? Maybe the way his setup is, he needs as much fuel as he can for it to work.
That could be. Like I said, man, Adam Benefield, he is one of my favorite drivers to watch, because he's fast, he's aggressive, And some of the strategies that he pulls out and some of the moves that he makes, you just don't ever see it coming. It's just always something new with him, and it's a joy to watch. He is just, uh, I think, a fantastic addition to this league. When you see him making his moves and just trying to do everything he can to try and claim those wins, which he has done. You know, he's got 2 wins in the season so far. 2 wins or 3? I've already started to lose track. I think it's 3 wins
Take a look
for
at
Adam Mennefield.
his C pillar.
At his
3
C
wins.
pillar. Has he got his stickers on there?
Yeah,
Yep, 3 wins.
stickers.
So
yeah, there you go.
might not want to zoom in too close on that C pillar though, Carlos. That might get us demonetized.
You're gonna have to DM me what's in there because I can't see.
It's just a special message for Bryson. That's all.
I know what it is now. Yeah, I know what it is now. But hey, speaking about special messages, how about we talk to our in-race reporter? You said you had explicit permission, and we can talk to him during green flag, and there's nobody around him. So I'll give you a little bit of time to bring up Cameron Stone, and let's get a quick word with him while he's going up to speed.
Gotta grab him down here. Cameron Stone, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, you volunteered to be our in-race reporter. You said as long as you weren't too close to anybody, pull you down in the booth. Well, you're kind of in no man's land right now, running around on your own. How's the car feeling out there right now?
It's going through different stages right now. Early in the run, it feels, really good when it's got sticker tires on it. Then it goes through a loose spell, and then it gets real tight at the end. So I think if I can get this looseness out of it without making it too tight, we'll be a little bit better in these mid stages. From about lap 20 to 35 or so, these guys ahead of me just pull off, and then me and Kevin are actually a little bit better on the long run. So we're hoping everything kind of stays green, and maybe we can use that to our advantage.
Absolutely. So looking to make some changes, maybe get the looseness out of the car. I think that's something that a lot of drivers are going to be attempting to do. A lot of drivers out there slipping and sliding. You said you have a lot of long run speed, and we've had some long green flag runs. Only one caution for cause thus far, aside from the stage. You expecting this thing to stay green?
I'm not expecting it to stay green the whole time. Somebody's going to wreck. We've already had a couple of wrecks, I think, that didn't trigger cautions. So if we keep having those, one car spins, I mean, it'll stay green. But I have a feeling after one of these pit stops, people are going to get up on the wheel, and we'll have a big one.
All right. Well, Carlos, you have any questions for our in-race reporter?
How are you doing this? How are you driving while still while talking to us?
I mean, talent, I guess. It is what it is. I mean, I'm pretty good at talking, and I like to think I'm good at driving, so I guess I can do both at the same time.
All right, well, it looks like your telemetry is showing that may not be the case, so we'll let you go so you can concentrate and pull some faster lap times, but best of luck,
I'm
my
not
friend.
getting down to the bottom right now, 1 and 2. It's getting a little too loose on the bottom. I got to run a little higher.
That's a thinly veiled insult there, Cam. You said you're not good enough at multitasking, so we're gonna throw you back in your.
Well, I'm definitely a one-track thought kind of guy, so.
All right.
What are your thoughts on Las Vegas?
On Las Vegas? Oh, I love it, man. Can't wait to go back.
All right. Let's get him back to his spot. You got it, or?
Go ahead and move him up, Carlos. I can't. Like I said, I can scroll down.
Gone.
I can't scroll up.
Remember, you can always right click. You can always right click on their name and then go to move to, and then just select the room.
Well, today I learned. I had no idea that was a thing. I thought you had to drag them. And
Have
like
you,
for me,
have
when
you-
I
All right, so have you guys noticed? This is something that not everybody notices on Discord. There's an inbox feature where you can check to see what the latest notifications are, and check to see what the latest up posts are on every single Discord channel you have, or you're in. It's at the top right. It's that little like square with an arrow in it.
That is good info to have.
Yeah,
I
very
also
useful.
didn't know about that right click. That's a good thing to know, because when I grab the name and I drag them down, it'll automatically scroll until we reach our voice chat. But then when I click them and drag them to go back up, it doesn't scroll up. So if their team chat's out of view, I can't get them there. So
Yeah.
that right click will be useful. But going back to the race, a little bit less Discord tech talk and me being technologically inadequate.
Sounds about
Adam
right.
Mennefield is up in P3, and he's kind of been there for quite a while. He is closing the gap to Jonathan Delaney. He was about 2.6 seconds back from Delaney. Last time we checked in, now it is actually under a second to Delaney. He's got about 0.9 seconds, I believe. And at least the last time around.
He's
live
gaining.
time and scoring showing a bit of a different story, but he is gaining quite a bit. Last time around, it was 1.7 seconds to the leader and 0.8 seconds to Jonathan Delaney. So he's moving his way up, and I think this time the run's going a little bit better for him. You know, he started further up. He did lose those positions early in the race. As you can see the intervals there, just slowly chipping away those hundredths of a second per lap. But that's all it takes sometimes, folks. I mean, a little bit of time each lap consistently is going to get you there eventually. And the point I was making is that Adam Benefiel, on the initial run for Stage 1, he started further back in the grid, had to pass a lot of cars, use up his tires doing it, and then by the time he got to the front, he just ran out of time before the stage ended to try to get to the leader. This stage, he started further up towards the front. He did lose a couple positions that he had to get back. But then once he did get those positions back, he has been marching his way towards the front, carving his way towards the leaders, and he's got plenty of time. We're on lap 141. The stage is going to end at lap 210. So we have about 70 laps remaining in the stage, a little under 70 laps, and he's only got a 1.7 second deficit to try to make up.
That also tells me we're going to be seeing pit stops in about 20 or 30 laps.
That's another thing, yeah. Depending on who decides to pit early or who tries to stay out, we could see a huge shakeup in running order with the pit sequence. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen Cody run his car dry. He talked a lot about how he was going to try to do that a lot this season, try to lead laps and get camera time. But maybe he feels at a track like Atlanta. Maybe he feels like a track at Atlanta. Tires are more important than camera time, for sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah. That's something that I think everybody knows, but not sure everybody really understands just how important it is.
Looking at you, Cody Burr.
No, Cody's running in the back. He knows tire wear. He's running behind the top 10, so he's trying to take care of his stuff.
Absolutely.
That, or he's trying to give it 100%, and he just doesn't have the setup.
Or
skill.
The shade at Cody.
There's a reason why I'm not in the broadcast booth and why I'm in the production truck.
You know, he has not stopped talking about his profile picture from the other week and how it made me laugh for like 4 minutes.
I forgot about that. I think what really makes it even better is not that he's passed out on a bathroom. I'm assuming that's a public toilet, which is even worse. He also has his name at the top of it, and it's cut off.
Yeah, it's poorly cropped on top of that.
Oh,
but
man,
yeah, not stop talking about that because he made me laugh for like 5 minutes on the broadcast, and he keeps bringing it up. But Kevin Steele's parents' favorite driver, still turning his laps, trying to remain consistent, be there at the end. On your screen right there, that's going to be Mason Lowry. He's up there running P7, so definitely having a good day in that Loudmouth Motorsports number 56, running inside the top 10, not too far behind Wayne Grassley. He's actually been closing the gap ever so steadily to that number 7, trying to get that P6.
We have the time. Why don't we go through the field and let's just see it. Let's just document how everybody's race is going so far. Start off with the current race leader, Bryson Hixenbaugh. Yeah, hasn't won this season. Won 15 races last season. So everybody's questioning what's going on with Bryson. ¿Qué pasa? So he's not winning, but he's in the lead right now. Very, very fast. Was able to get past Jonathan Delaney, who dominated stage 1. And Delaney's still there, but he's about he's about one and a half seconds behind. Whoa, Adam Benefield, where do you come from? He's the new second place driver, Adam Benefield, who we saw getting the win, and also maybe getting a couple other people frustrated last week. But Adam Benefield currently in second, very strong run. Got shuffled back a little bit on that stage 2 restart, but getting himself back up front there. Jonathan Delaney, strong contender today, for sure. He's currently in third place right now, and you know how that makes him feel. Not happy. Whoa! that also doesn't make him happy when he gets loose off the corners. But Jonathan Delaney currently in third, dominating performance, and I don't know. Is his time to shine kind of over? Was stage one his kind of one and done? We're going to see how he's going to continue with stage two and on this final stage. Currently in fourth, Cameron Stone. Can't complain about him. He's got himself a nice solid finish. Nice solid running currently right now in fourth place. Plus 4 positions. Strong finish, good points race. We're going to see if he's got something for these guys at the end of the race. Kevin Consistency Steele. What can we say about him? Nothing. Let's move on. I'm kidding. No, Kevin, you're running a fine race. A fine race so far in 5th place. You know, in stage 2, got yourself some nice points in stage 1. Keep yourself in the lead lap. There's only 10 drivers in the lead lap. You keep yourself in the lead lap, you're going to have yourself a nice, decent top 10 finish. All right, Andre, you got 6th place and 10th. 6th to 10th, I should say.
All right, so running P6. I don't know how I'm going to top that. That was pretty great. Wayne Grassy is running P6 in that number 7 car. He's had a good night all night. I mean, earlier on in the race, you saw him kind of duking it out for a podium position, then later on battling for the top 5 with Cameron Stone. Seems like that number 7 is pretty much up to his liking. Seems like he's got a good setup. He's been consistent all night long, keeping himself on the lead lap, and I think if he keeps it up, he can be there at the end. Behind him, you got Mason Lowry in that Loudmouth Motorsports. I believe that's an Interstate paint scheme, number 56. He has been running really well all night. He's been able to avoid a lot of the chaos that's kind of been going on. Cameron Stone talked a little bit about the one-car spins that have occurred and not brought out yellow, and a few of those have happened right in front of the 56. He's been able to steer clear of it. He's been chipping away at the number 7, trying to get up to P6. So far, just running his race, keeping his eye on the car ahead. Behind him in position number 8, you got Dustin Hall. Dustin had a bit of an eventful week last week where he actually missed the grid, I believe, had to start from pit road, raced his way all the way up into the top 10 at one point. This week, another good run. He didn't miss the start. He was able to start with everybody else, and he's inside the top 10, running 8th. He's been pretty solid, I'd say, when it comes to strategy. He's been one of the cars that's staying out a little bit later from what we've seen in stage 1, but he didn't lose much time doing it. So interesting to see what he's going to do going forward with that strategy. Position number 9, Preston McRae in that 53 red, white, and blue Pepsi car. Love that paint scheme. Preston McRae has been, again, I keep saying it, but you know it's true for all these guys in the top 10. Just solid. He's been keeping to himself. We haven't seen him involved in too many battles. He's kind of just been in his own little world for a good number of laps here. And sometimes as a driver, that's what you want to see. You want to be in clean air. You don't want anybody around you. You just want to be turning your laps so that when the end of the stage or the end of the race rolls around, your car is untouched and you have an opportunity to try and strike. And that's what Preston McRae is doing, running a solid race, P9. Finally, back to P10. If I can, let's see. P10 is going to be Jacob Kraus, I believe, as it's been traded off so many times, biggest mover of the race. He started way towards the back of the field, raced his way all the way up into the top 10. Went a lap down at one point. He was the recipient of the lucky dog. Got his way back on the lead lap, now running P10. So kind of a newcomer to the league. I believe he was a rookie, a rookie debut just a couple of races ago. Now already showing himself to be a force right there in 10th.
Something I do want to just quickly mention. This has nothing to do with ASR. Sorry, not ASR. This has nothing to do with 100% Cup Series, but I gotta say, one of the greatest sponsorship deals that has ever been made is that Aaron's Lucky Dog sponsorship. They only sponsored maybe a couple of years, but to this day, everybody still calls it a Lucky Dog, and we always think about Aaron's. That has got to be the greatest purchase that Aaron's has ever made.
Absolutely. I mean, you gotta think they probably didn't pay too much for that sponsorship over a couple of years, but it's something that has remained. Then is the caution out, or did Cameron Stone just have an issue?
No, caution's not out.
I'm right.
Oh yeah, Cameron
I'm riding along.
When did this happen?
That was, I don't know. Cameron Stone was ahead of the number 12, and he just checked up big time on the straightaway. The 12 got around him. He's a lap down, and he passed Cameron Stone. And now when Cam goes through the corners there, he's lifting big time. It almost looks like he's trying to conserve. So I don't know if he had an issue or if he's just maybe trying to squeeze a little bit extra fuel out of this car. But a weird situation was right on board with that number 57.
We're going to bring him up. We can talk to him.
We could. Yeah. If I can find him.
Just ask him quickly what happened, and then just leave.
All right. See if I can drag him down here. Oh, can't quite. This is me being technologically illiterate again. Cameron Stone, we don't mean to bring you down too many times this race, but we were watching you there, and looks like that number 12 got around you. He's been pulling away. What's going on with the car right now, man?
He just, when I caught him and passed him, he was coming off pit road, so he's got fresh tires. I talked to him, and he let me by and gave me priority for a few laps, but I could tell I was holding him up, so I'm just gonna let him go here.
Right,
so what happened is Andre just wasn't paying attention and didn't notice that the guy had.
That is exactly what happened.
Indeed, that is what happened.
That's what happens every week.
He's got a whole lot to keep up with tonight, so he gets a pass.
Very true, very true. But all right, we're gonna let you get back to your team.
Well, actually, hold on. When are you going down pit road?
Let's see. We've been out here for about 52 laps. We're going to lap 210. Here in the next 3 laps or so.
Ooh, interesting.
All right, Cam, well, Adam
really
Benefield's watching the broadcast. He paid us $20 to ask you that question, so he'd know what's going on.
Well,
that's not true.
I'm not really giving him anything to race for, so.
Yeah, that's not true. I made that up. But all right, Cam.
Steele's on pit road.
All right, man.
So we got a couple drivers going down pit road right now. Kevin Steele being one of them. We also had Cody Bird, Charles Eaton also down in pit road. So interesting to see what if this is going to be bringing the other guys down to pit road. We were talking to Cameron Stone just a moment ago, and he said 2 or 3 laps. So I wonder if that's going to change now. The fact that we got some contenders in the lead lap going down pit road already right now.
Absolutely, this is going to shake things up. And you mentioned Charles Eaton being down pit road there. He's the driver who made that incredible evasive maneuver early on in the race, and still his car relatively undamaged. He's got a little bit of right rear damage that he got at some point or another, but he's currently running P21 and that 75 machine, making his way out of pit road. And behind him, pit road's going to continue to be busy as Chad Edwards is making his way out of pit road in that number 4 car. Damaris Hickenbottom right behind Chad. Looks like Wayne Grassy, Preston McRae have made their way down to their pit stalls. Among those who have yet to pit, Adam Benefield and Bryson Dixonbot, they have stayed out thus far, as well as I believe Jonathan Delaney has yet to pit. So the leaders all pretty much remaining. Mason Lowry, another car that has not yet pit. Looks like Cody Bird has pit. He was one of the earlier adopters of pit road. Again, showing that he has finally decided that maybe tires are worth a little bit more than camera time.
Oh, top 2 going down pit road. Oh my goodness, did you see that? Oh my, I think Adam may have sped entering pit road. He gained a ton on the current race leader, Bryson Hickenbottom. Wow.
Yeah, that's going to be borderline, Carlos. He locked him up pretty heavy there.
Well, it doesn't matter if he locked him up because he's getting new tires, but the question is that he slowed down enough. That's the real important thing.
Gonna have to find out. I wasn't really talking in terms of tire wear when I say you locked them up. I was talking more when you lock up those tires, your brakes aren't really slowing you down very much because you're just kind of sliding.
Up to speed.
Yeah, so I feel like maybe he slid through and maybe got a speeding penalty. We'll have to find out. But he's gonna cycle out right behind Bryson Hickenbottom, which not good news for that 63. That breathing room that he had is gone.
Oh,
even worse, that
right
83 is. He is using that banking on that apron to his advantage, getting on the throttle a little bit better than the 63. And now as they merge onto the backstretch, that 83 is going to have a bit of a run. Now he's got to see what he can do once they get up to speed.
We're on board Adam Benefield. Let's see what's going to happen. He's there. He passes Jonathan Delaney down pit road. This is going to be the lead. They have just currently unlapped themselves, and next time by they'll be getting the lead. But the question is it going to be Bryson Hickenbottom or is it going to be Adam Benefield? Because, I don't know. I kind of looked like it was going to Adam Benefield's way, but Bryson's starting to pull away. He's got nobody in front of him. He's got that clean air, and Adam has to deal with that dirty air from those. I don't know, those Hugger oranges. They're a little expired right now. How dirty it is.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to think Bryson's probably trying to throw some Hugger oranges out the window. Anything to slow down the progress of Adam Benefield, who has just been in the hunt of the lead all night long. He's been making up positions, passing cars, running a great race, just has not yet been able to find himself in the top spot. Now, right now, I think the dynamic we're seeing is that Bryson Hickenbottom has a lot of short run speed. We saw it on the restart where he was able to move Adam Benefield out of the way, and he was able to get around Jonathan Delaney and pretty much lead all the way up until the pit cycle. And Adam Benefield, he was a little bit slower on the jump on that restart. And then as time progressed, man, that car got dialed in. And we've seen it so many races in a row with Adam
I don't
Benefield.
think that
He
was
just
by
has that
choice.
long run speed. Yeah, no. I mean, it definitely wasn't. Yeah, I didn't say why he was slow on the jump, but
Oh my
yeah,
goodness!
maybe not by choice.
Andre, look who's in third. Kevin Consistency Steele battling Cameron Stone for third place right now. Look at that number 24 go. I'm always happy to see that number 24 battling for wins and top fives.
Absolutely. Kevin Consistency Steele finally finding himself in a podium position after a hard-fought race all night long. Seems like those Apex cars have a lot of speed, Carlos. I mean, they've been running really well all night long, up in the top 5, or at least around the top 5. They just haven't quite had the track position. We've seen how damaging it can be to start a little bit further back on the grid on these restarts, and that's kind of where Cameron Stone and Kevin Steele have found themselves, a little bit further back on these restarts. And by the time they pass everybody and they get up in that clean air, the leaders are long gone. This time around, though, they're not too far behind the leaders as Cam's going to pass his teammate. Kevin Steele may be trying to get the crossover and not quite going to pull it off. Those Apex cars, man, I think they're coming to life more and more as this race goes on.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, starting to die right now is that number 9 of Jonathan Delaney. What a fall from grace, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but he dominated stage 1. He's currently 6 right now. He's hasn't been in contention in stage 2 except for the first couple laps. I guess he tried to stay out late on this one. That's kind of what's kind of lost him a couple spots. But I don't know. I'm not seeing that raw speed that I saw in stage 1 for the number 9 machine.
No, and you know, I said at the top of the broadcast that this whole race was going to be a learning experience for these guys. They were going to have to take in the data lap after lap, figure out where the car is good, what they need to adjust to make the car better. And I think at the beginning of this race, Jonathan Delaney had probably the best feel for his car. He knew the most going in, but as time has gone on, drivers like Adam Benefield, Bryson Nixon, Bob, both of the Apex boys, Kevin and Cam, they have been feeling their car out. They've had a couple pit stops now to try and make adjustments, and that's exactly what they've done. They've got these cars dialed in, and Jonathan Delaney just starting to slip through the cracks now.
It's a real shame. Jonathan Delaney, we saw him doing well, and then once it got past, he hasn't really looked at the lead ever since. It's well, you know, we're still in stage 2. We still have well over 100 laps remaining in this race. And stage 2 is going to be ending in about 40 laps. Excuse me, pardon me. My math is wrong. About 30 laps, right? Yeah, 30 laps.
No, 40 laps. We're on lap 170.
Oh, yeah, 40
and we're going to lap 210. Yep.
Huh.
So about 40 laps to go. And up front, Bryson has actually pulled away quite a bit from Adam Benefield. I think that's that short run speed that we talked about. He seems to have a lot of it. I'm curious to see, man, Adam Benefield isn't going to have this sort of insurmountable gap that he has built himself these last couple of runs. You know, he always finds himself just out of reach of the lead by the time he has to pit or the stage comes to an end. This time, he's within a second of the leader, and he's just kind of got to hit his marks and wait until that 63 starts to fade. His car starts to show up to the show.
Yeah, for sure. 1 second behind. That's kind of what we were seeing in general at the end of stage 1 and this whole first half, a whole first long run in stage 2. You know, not dropping too far back. You know, these guys are separated, and at the end of the race, we only had 10 drivers on the lead lap, which, you know, we still have right now at the end of stage 1, I meant to say. But they were separated, and they're going to continue getting separated. But oddly enough, the lead was not really taking off. Jonathan Delaney took off, but, you know, at the end of the stage, he was about 2 seconds ahead of second place. And the only reason he was 2 seconds ahead of second place was because second place was battling. You know, there was a position change for second place, and that kind of slowed them down. They were going to be around 1.6, maybe 1.5 seconds behind Jonathan Delaney. So the leaders, they're not really separating too far, and if Adam Benefield can keep that distance minimized, then he might be able to make a charge for it at the end.
Absolutely, I think he will. Like I said, we've seen which drivers have the long run setups, which drivers have the short run setups, and right now, as this race is flown, and I don't mean to give it the commentator's curse, I'll knock on wood, but right now I think this race is favoring those with the long run setups because we haven't seen many cautions for cause. Cam said he didn't expect this race to go green. He He's seen a lot of single car spins that haven't caused cautions, but he thinks eventually one of those single car spins is going to break out into something bigger. I don't see that happening. I think everybody's spread out enough, kind of running their own race. And we're going to see a lot of green flag racing up until the end. And if we do see a caution, it won't be for a while. So right now, as it stands, I think the long run setups are the way to go. And drivers like Adam Benefiel and Jonathan Delaney, they're the drivers that have those setups. So gonna have to keep an eye on them and see what they can do.
And that is one of those tracks where it's you know, you got to take that approach that I always mention in tough tracks. Atlanta's a tough track. You know, they lowered the horsepower for these cars and made it more aero sensitive. So it's a lot easier to drive these cup cars than back in before 2016, I think. But it's still a tough track to pass. And you're usually gonna find at tough tracks the caution rate, with some exceptions, is generally low, and that's because people aren't concerned about passing others and just getting running as fast as they can and trying to get to the lead. They're more concerned with not wrecking themselves, saving their tires, not spinning out. They're concerned with themselves as opposed to winning the race. So, you know, they're going to be taking it easy, being a little bit more cautious. And, you know, at tracks like Daytona and other tracks where you know, you're not really concerned about spinning out, you're not concerned about losing control or getting yourself in an incident, you're going to be seeing these guys, you know, maybe be less concerned and, you know, try to go 2 or 3 wide more than they really should. And that's why you see more cautions at those tracks. And then that's why we see long runs at Atlanta. It's just, these guys, they're more concerned with themselves than they are with others.
Right. I mean, confidence is huge in a sport like stock car racing. And when you have a track that's this difficult, that it just strips you of your confidence in your driving ability, in your setup, in the stability of the car, you do start to be a little bit more mindful, and you don't make those crazy moves. I mean, that's a great point. And so that's kind of why I expect this race to stay green, primarily. Of course, that's not ruling out that we could get a yellow flag. It's just, you know, not to sound like Larry Mack or anything, but if we're going by the trends of the league here, we had a couple races consecutively with 0 cautions for cause. Phoenix was the first race in, I think, 3 weeks at that point that we actually had a yellow flag for cause. So a lot of green flag racing in this league, a lot of talented drivers that know what they're doing, that maybe don't get in over their heads. It could be a lot of green flag racing at the end, and we're just going to have to wait and see. But speaking of seeing, Carlos, this is a fantastic segue as well. How about we take in some sights and sounds at Atlanta with a Shano FX overdrive?
Yeah, let's do that right now. Let's go ahead and start to race up that engine, everybody. Let's stomp on that effects pedal from ShanoFX.com. Let's check it out. You're back.
All right, we are back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the running of the 100% Cup Series event. We're on lap 185 out of 210 in the stage. After that, we're going to race all the way to lap 325 for the longest and final stage of the race. But we got to get to the end of this one first. Right now, you probably saw quite a bit of it happening live and heard it very clearly through those fantastic Shano FX overdrives. But Adam Benefiel is running down your leader. He was at, I believe, a 1.5 second gap to the lead. Now he's brought it down to 0.3. So that long run speed in that 83 machine definitely shining. As you can see, we ride on board, and that he had a little bit of a wiggle in the center of the corner, and he's doing it every time. It just seems like the car is super free. And while it seems hard to control, I think that's where a lot of that speed is coming from. He can rotate that car so well like nobody else can, as he goes right down to that white line in turns 3 and 4. And to make matters worse for the leader, we got some lap traffic up ahead.
Yeah, I definitely think within the next couple laps, we're going to be looking at a new race leader in Adam Benefiel. He's definitely running that Kyle Larson line of approval all the way up high in turns 1 and 2. Of course, not this lap. Why would he do it this lap when I start talking about it? But 3 and 4, he's dipping down below all the way to the inside near that white line. He's staying committed. He's disciplined to that white line in 3 and 4. That is key. People try to drive that inside line, and they struggle, and then they're asking themselves, well, how is this person able to do it? And I'm struggling so badly. I should just stick to the outside line. You have to stay committed to that inside line. There we go. He's running that Kyle Larson line of approval all the way up high. But on that inside line, you have to stick with it. If you leave early or you mess up, you just threw away a lap there, maybe 2.
For sure. And if there's one thing I know about Team Conti, it is that they are some of the most skilled setup builders in the league. They definitely know what they're doing. And when it comes to Adam Benefiel, he knows how he likes the car. He knows exactly how he wants that thing to handle. And with his team resources, he can get that car exactly where he needs it to be. And that's kind of what we've seen week in and week out. And even thinking back to Auto Club, we had the quote-unquote rain delay where like half the server got disconnected due to some internet service provider issues. Adam Benefiel at the start of that race wasn't where he wanted to be. He said the car was kind of handling very, very poorly, at least by his standards. Then we had that red flag delay, and his team actually had time to go in, look at the diagnostics, look at the data that they had kind of created over the run, and they were able to make changes under that red flag where now Adam Benefiel was one of the fastest cars on the track. He went on to win that race. And that's just kind of the force that is Team Conti. They never stop working on their cars. They never stop figuring out what they need to do. And it seems like no matter what track we go to, they've always got it figured out.
Oh, I have something I want to say. Earlier in the race, I said that John Delaney was dying. His time to shine may have been over. Well, ever since then, Jonathan Delaney has been proving me wrong. Because these last couple laps, and I've noticed, he was 8 seconds behind the leader. Look at those stats. All right, he is gaining a bunch of time on the leaders, and he did stay out longer. So he lost a lot of spots, and that was stupid of me to assume that he was dropping back. But, oh man, he went from 6th all the way to 3rd, and he's gaining on those leaders, lap after lap with those fresher tires. The question is, did he wait too long? Did he not wait long enough? Did he wait just right? And is he quick enough to maybe blow by these leaders within the next couple laps? That's it's really key. But actually, we're kind of looking at that stat. It's starting to even out a little, kind of being stuck around 5 seconds. But still, Jonathan Delaney, he might have something after all for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, you can't count him out, especially after what we saw Adam Benefiel do at the end of stage 1. I mean, he was about 3 seconds back from Bryson Hixenbaugh, and in a matter of a couple laps, he closed that down and actually got around him for 2nd place in the stage. Jonathan Delaney, more than capable of doing something extremely similar. But on your screen right now, that is the battle for the lead, and it is tightening up once again. Adam Benefiel, 0.2 seconds behind the leader. They got 3 lap cars ahead of him, and we saw at the end of stage 1 for 2nd place, Benefiel used those lap cars like a pick, and he did it flawlessly. I mean, if you looked up using lap cars as a pick in the dictionary, which you couldn't do because that's multiple words, and that's not how dictionaries work, but if you could, then there would have been a video of that because it was perfect. I mean, he could not have played that anymore.
On a dictionary?
Now, yes, exactly.
Video?
Yes. It's 2021, Carlos. Technology is advanced.
You're right.
I mean, we have Urban Dictionary. We got all kinds of dictionaries. Don't go on Urban Dictionary.
That's not a dictionary I trust.
Yeah, not affiliated.
No,
Yes,
it's not Merriam-Webster.
Yes.
It's Webster and then Meridian something. They're two different companies.
Yeah, I think it is. But side note, Adam Benefield has closed it from point 2 to point 1, so he is definitely within striking distance. 2-lap car still right there in front of him. I believe the first lap car is Jacob Kraus, who is currently running P10. Ahead of him, you have Kevin Blackwell, currently 19th, Matt Gatorade number 49. And these drivers, I think, are going to be crucial to this battle for the lead. If Bryson Nixonbach can navigate them smoothly, then he's going to be able to maintain his lead and maybe even give himself a buffer between him and Benefield. But if he gets held up, if he can't get around him like he wants to, that just presents the opportunity for Benefield to do what he did at the end of stage 1, make that overtake, and possibly sail off into the sunset. Because if Benefield is this fast in dirty air, I can't even imagine how fast that car is going to be once he gets that clean traffic.
Oh, he'll be taking off. And if these guys continue to battle side by side for a while, that's also going to be helping Jonathan Delaney. That's for sure. So actually, this last couple laps, Jonathan Delaney gained a little, but then kind of dropped back, kind of evened out. But then, of course, the leaders aren't really battling. Benefield got close, maybe close to the bumper to sniff it, but it just wasn't. It's like they're not battling side by side enough to cause a disturbance to their speed. But right now, those two guys, especially Benefield, they got it going on.
Absolutely. And I think, again, when you get up to the bumper of the guy ahead of you, that arrow push is just so overwhelming. It can just completely change the handling of your car. And that's probably what Adam Benefield's kind of experiencing here. He closed the gap quite quickly. He got up to Bryson Nixonbach, and then immediately it just stabled out where he is now running identical lap times to the leader. And that arrow push, man, it is something. So I think as this run goes on, we've got about 13 laps left in the stage. The 63 is going to continue to fade if the first stage is anything to go off of. He seemed to just kind of fade a little bit more than that 83. But the question is going to be, can Adam Benefield use that? Can he actually take this opportunity, make the pass, and complete it? Because another thing to keep in mind here, Carlos, is that these two, they're kind of involved in a rivalry. We saw Bryson move Benefield earlier in the race. Benefield has moved Bryson multiple times earlier in the season. These guys are probably going to race each other a little bit harder than, anybody else on the track.
That's true. And side by side they go. Surprisingly, Jonathan Delaney's actually dropping back a little bit. Looks like those tires are starting to wear out. Either that or Jonathan Delaney has his own lap traffic to deal with. But it just seems like it's just hard to be able to pass on the inside. We were talking about, of course, Adam Benefield, we saw him really running that inside line very well through 3 and 4 and running the outside line through 1 and 2. You saw him that time by. Benefield couldn't run the outside line. I mean, he could, but why? There's a car in front of you there. All that speed, all that grip you have when you're running that outside line, it's gone the moment there's a car in front of you. He has to run where Hixenball is not. And if Hixenball is running the upper line on turns 1 and 2, well, then you got to run the lower line. And unfortunately, this time by, Adam Benefield chose the wrong lane because they both drove towards that middle lane. It's kind of like in baseball, it's the pitcher's job to upset the batter. The batter has the advantage. You have to confuse the batter. If you confuse the batter, you do your job. If you don't, then batter's gonna hit a home run. Adam Benefield needs to guess where Hixenball is going. He needs to guess where that pitch is gonna go. And if he does it all correctly and has the skill to get by him and the setup behind his wheel, then we're gonna be talking about a new race leader. But unfortunately, sometimes you may not be able to read the pitcher, and that could be the case right now with Hixenbach still leading this race.
That's a great analogy, and it really is kind of the responsibility of the race leader to kind of take away the line of the guy that's following you. Because I've always said, if you're the guy that's behind, it's your ball. It's your advantage because you can use the guy ahead of you as a marker. You know where they're braking, you know where they're going, and it makes it a little bit easier to drive your own car and maybe drive just a little bit harder than the guy in front of you and try to make that pass. Now, once you get out front and you lose that reference marker, you're kind of on your own, and now you have to take away the guy's line. Bryson's done a good job of taking away Benefield's line, But I have noticed Bryson has been running the middle to high line pretty much every single time. And if he keeps doing that, then eventually Benefield's going to get wise to it. He's going to figure out how to run the bottom, and he's going to try to make a move. Now, whether or not Benefield's car can stick on the bottom, we'll have to wait and see. We saw him make a crazy move on the bottom at the end of stage 1. Somehow the car stuck, so we know his car is capable of it. The question is, when does he break that out? And maybe his car's starting to go away from him as he gets really loose out of 2.
One thing we're seeing is these guys have picked up the pace. Jonathan Delaney's been dropping back a little. He was 5 seconds, 5.5. Now he's 7 seconds. These guys are pulling away, and Adam Benefield may be in a position where he's trying to drive to the limits of his car right now, to the limits of that setup. And it may just not be enough. We saw him that last time by. He got tight exiting the corner. He almost scraped the wall, and if he did, it didn't do anything, but it kind of scared him a little. You saw him drive all the way down to maybe even a little bit below the white line before trying to come back out for this next corner. But that car, she's giving it all she's got.
Right, I think he got tight out of the corner, and he cranked on the wheel to avoid hitting the wall, and that actually got him a little bit sideways. And that slide, when you slide like that, that'll heat up that right rear, and that can affect you for the next 1 to 2 laps. Just having that little bit of extra temperature is going to make the car a little bit looser, which maybe Benefield doesn't want right now. I think the cars are loose enough as they are on this track, let alone once you get heat in the tires and start sliding around and just making the problem worse. Now, it's Benefield's advantage here as we approach lap 207 out of 210 of the stage. We got some more lap traffic ahead, and they're kind of engaged in a battle of their own. They're very close to one another. Maybe not going to be as easy for Bryson to navigate as the last pair of cars.
Whatever the case is, we know these guys definitely have the skill to be able to go wherever they want to go. The question is, do they scare the lap down vehicles and maybe put themselves in a position where somebody may lose a spot or two?
Absolutely. They got around one of the lap cars pretty easy. I believe that was the number 12 car. He gave it up pretty easy. He didn't want to mess up the leaders and just kind of took that high line, said go low. Everything went pretty much as planned. They got one more lap car ahead of them, and then ahead of that lap car, it's quite a ways to the next one. So if they can get around this guy, I believe that is that's Bryce Hoffman is going to be the next car going a lap down. If they can navigate him cleanly, they're going to be all right to the end of this stage. But we're just going to have to wait and see as Benefield is there. He is at the quarter panel, now at the door, sticking it down on that bottom lane. He's going to drift up. Contact. There is contact. The 63 had to move off the track a little bit.
Almost had it. Almost had it. Let's go back and take a look at that one more time.
See, going into 3 and 4, Benefield tries to do what he did at the end of stage 1, sticks it down on that white line, except this time
didn't stick.
His car didn't stick. It started to slide up a little bit.
What are you on about?
On my screen, I see a little bit of a donut on the side of Benefield's car, but that could just be from the spectator's perspective. I could be wrong.
I didn't even know they added donuts in this game.
I thought I've seen them before. I mean, I'm looking at the stage.
I don't think I've ever seen donuts in iRacing.
They definitely have it on the ARCA car. I know that much. But
I'll agree to that, yeah.
83 is not giving up on this. He is on the bumper of the leader. He's got one more turn. We're on lap 210. Once 10 cars have crossed the line this lap, that's going to be it. 83 down low, sending it up high.
Oh, contact!
No contact. I don't. That was close. There might have been contact. That's hard to tell. But
How was there no contact there?
We'll have to take a look at that in slow-mo once this stage ends, because boy, oh boy, I don't think you could have put a piece of paper between those guys when they slid like that. But Bryson Nixonbach taking your stage 2 win. Adam Benefield bringing it home. Second in the stage, Jonathan Delaney powering back that podium P3. Cameron Stone 4th, Kevin Steele 5th. And then to round out your stage back to 10th, it's going to be Wayne Grassy, Dustin Hall, Preston McRae, Mason Lowry, and Jacob Kraus.
And cautions.
Yeah, I tell you what, Carlos, we got to get a replay of that slide, though, man. That was something. If there was contact, it was extremely minute. But man, that was. I mean, Benefield was trying to get everything he could get out of that car. He sends it down low. He is on the apron right there, going to the super slow-mo. I don't know. Was there contact?
Maybe? I'm not sure, honestly.
I really don't think there was. I'm not seeing a 0x for either of these drivers, so that might have been the closest call all race long right there. I mean, the 83 did a phenomenal job. Once he knew that car wasn't going to stick, watch what he does here. So he gets down on the white
he
line.
drove it too deep.
Car starts, it was a little too deep. He starts sliding up, and right here, he gets on the brakes. He turns hard left.
Oh, wow.
And just barely avoids disaster. I mean, fantastic driving by Benefield to keep that clean.
Oh, we got leaders on pit road now. Once they're done, and now we're gonna go talk to your stage 2 winner.
Benefield's car up on the jacks, getting them right sides, now the left sides. Same thing for Bryson Nixon. About all your leaders making their way into their stalls. We're going to see if there's going to be any shakeups on pit road. Jonathan Delaney maybe standing to gain a little bit, having that first stall.
Gain one spot.
Yeah, he's going to get out ahead of Benefield and Cameron Stone.
Oh,
actually, Benefield lost a lot on pit road.
Wait, yeah, what's up with Benefield?
Perhaps a penalty?
Taking a look, he had 30 seconds? Maybe I think they do give 15-second penalties when you speed entry.
Yeah, he might have sped.
Let's take a look.
I'm going to try and identify exactly what happened here. As you can see, that's Benefield in his stall. Okay, here's the pit road entry. 83 never looked like he sped. Didn't look like he really...
If it happened, it would have happened before his stop. Before he stopped.
Yeah.
He stopped fine. It has to be a penalty. Either that, or maybe he had to rush to the bathroom. Because I think something like that happened.
He did. That was... Yeah, but that was fast, if that's what he did. I mean, to get back to the car in less than 30 seconds,
look, some of these drivers, all right? Some of these drivers... They have some medical devices that allows them to kind of go where they're at.
Some have medical devices. Some have Gatorade bottles.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess you can use a Gatorade bottle. Yeah, just don't use a lemon lime one and then leave it in the fridge.
Yeah, don't get confused. That would be bad.
Honestly,
anyways,
if you leave the lemon lime one and put it in the fridge and somebody believes it, then you are not drinking enough water.
I mean, that's true. But before the lights go off on the pace car, let's try to have a quick word with our stage winner, Bryson Nixon. I'm going to see if I can find him in the High Side Racing chat. There he is. I'm going to try to drag him down here. Bryson Nixon, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Bryson, you and Adam Benefield just about gave us a heart attack up in the booth. There was 2 extremely close calls in these closing laps. How was that from your perspective?
Oh, I knew he was going to try it down there on the bottom. It's so tough to get that run off when you're underneath somebody, so you gotta send it in on entry. And he was trying to slide job me on that last turn, but there's not enough room back there, and I knew that he was going to lift or wipe us both out, and I was fine with either one of those solutions.
All right, so it was going to be wreckers or checkers, and you were fine with that. Well, lights are off on the pace car, so we'll let you get back to your team chat. But before we do, how's stage 3 looking? I mean, what's your plan here?
Well, with Adam going to the back to fix damage, we got a chance here. We got. Well, we'll see where it goes here if he can get through the field, but this changes up a lot because he's definitely the fastest car out here. He's had to go through the field 2 or 3 times already.
All right. Well, Bryson, good luck with the rest of the race. Hopefully we're talking to you at the end of it. We're going to go ahead and send you back to your chat. Thanks for your time.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
So he did have damage, Carlos. I guess there was contact on one of those. I'm not sure if it was the first or second. Yeah, that too. He could have scraped the wall for sure when he got tight on exit there that one time. But I thought I saw a little damage on the right side.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, you're probably right. You may be
I guess
crazy.
I'm not crazy. I mean, I am crazy, but not in that case.
But you just may be the lunatic I'm looking for.
Oh, man. So Jonathan Delaney with that front row starting position, maybe going to stage a bit of a late race comeback. You said he's maybe going to have something for him at the end of it. Let's find out as Bryson's going to get on the loud pedal. Get a bit of a jump there as he tends to do. And Delaney wasn't able to take the lead, but he did get quite a gap back to third place Cameron Stone. And with everybody single filing out pretty quick, I think this is going to allow these guys to kind of pretty much get to racing and try to figure this out right away.
Good to see Jonathan Delaney running back up front. He needs to get to the lead. We saw him in stage 1. His vehicle was incredibly fast to start the race and to start the first stage. I guess, yeah, technically to start the race. And looks like once he got past in stage 2, he wasn't able to lead any more laps. But there we go. Jonathan Delaney up in a good position out there on the outside line. On the outside line of Bryson Hixenbaugh. This could be enough to get yourself the lead again there, Jonathan. And currently Jonathan is leading, but we're going to see what it looks like at the end of this corner, going into 3 and 4, side by side. Jonathan Delaney is on a mission right now to get the lead and prove me wrong, man. Boy, is he ever. He may just clear Hixenbaugh right now. Not quite there, but he is going to lead the lap.
Oh, and he tried to pinch Bryson down through the quad oval. Bryson did lift. The 9 got clear for just a minute, but now Bryson going back to the bottom. These guys are not done battling. Jonathan Delaney does get clear, and now he finally has that clean air that he mentioned was so important. And just like, oh no! Oh, that is heartbreaking. Wayne Grassy has DC'd from the lobby. His throwfoot fell through. He was having a top 5 night up until this point, and now getting DC'd. That is tough.
That is a real shame for sure. We got Sam Close on the chat. Sam, my friend, it's been such a long time since we've raced together. How are you doing? Hope you are doing well. But the battle for the lead continues as number 63 of Bryson Hixenbaugh is back to the inside of number 9 of Jonathan Delaney. Side by side they go, exiting 3 and 4. The advantage to the outside line. They're still going strong, and Cameron Stone is liking what he sees.
Absolutely. The more these guys battle, the better it is for Cameron Stone. But these leaders, man, they're not going to give an inch. They both know how important that clean air is, and they want it for themselves. They are going to fight tooth and nail. At this point in time, they don't care how much they're wearing their tires, how much fuel they're burning up. All they care about is getting out front, getting that clean air, and then trying to set sail. Unfortunately for Bryson, we've seen it time and time again. That bottom line is not the place to be. You kind of have to pinch your car and really squeeze it to get any rotation out of it. And it's difficult to get a run. You can make a pass down there, but you got to set it up just right. As now, Bryson does get a slight advantage coming through 1 and 2. Gets a little loose on exit. Doesn't scrub away any speed, though. Now the number 9 is going to get another run down the straightaway, side by side, going into 3.
Side by side, indeed. For the last 3 laps in a row, these guys have been painting the pictures. They've been painting the track with their burnt rubber. Cameron Stone slowly creeping onto this picture. 0.666 seconds back. Kevin Steele also consistency Steele in 4th place. And Preston McRae, we haven't been talking about him too much, currently in 5th place.
This battle for the lead's making me nervous, Carlos. I've seen the number 9 really try to pinch Bryson on the bottom. And that's a good strategy. I mean, if you can pinch the guy beneath you and force them to lift, that's going to give you the advantage. But sometimes at a track like Atlanta, the guy you're pinching might just start to slide up the track unintentionally. And if that happens, man, nobody wins. So with that battle going on, that was kind of stressful. Luckily now, everything has sorted itself out. And Jonathan Delaney was able to get the lead. He's now got about a half a car length to a car length lead over Bryson. Bryson's going to have to regroup. As you saw, the yellow number 7, that is Wayne Grassy. He's back in the session. Made his way out of pit road. He is currently being scored 6 laps down.
Ooh,
20 seconds,
what a
6
shame.
laps down, unfortunately. He's
He's
going to need a lot of cautions, to say the least. Oh, whoa,
Whoa, ¿qué pasa?
These guys are going to give me a heart attack, man. Bryson got so close to Delaney's bumper going into 1. I thought for sure one of those guys was going around, and I didn't know who. Into 3 and 4. Delaney got a little bit sideways on entry, as did Bryson. These guys are driving the wheels off these cars, man. Bryson trying to get back out front. We know he has the car to do it, but Delaney, his car ain't bad either. I mean, this is just a battle of 2 very incredibly fast drivers right now that don't want to give an inch. And Bryson, he's looking to the high line now. He's like, all right, I can't get around him on the bottom.
Oh, the wall!
Oh, into the wall!
I was about to say,
that's...
Delaney knows that he cannot give Hixenbaugh the outside line. The moment he gives Hixenbaugh the outside line, he's lost the lead. He's probably lost the race. And what happened there is the effects of dirty air on these cars. We saw it there, clearly in this area. I was actually going to talk about that. But we saw it happen before our eyes. You know, you can run the outside line and be very, very fast, but if you take the same approach that you do when there's a car, you know, when there isn't a car in front of you, and then you do that same approach when there is a car in front of you, especially when that car isn't necessarily on the same line as you, but just a little bit below, kind of what we're seeing right now, that dirty air travels and it's gonna hurt you. He's gonna cut off your air circulation because you're gonna be running without any dirty air. And through the middle of the corner, when you're starting to pick up the throttle again, that car is gonna be coming up and giving you dirty air, and all of a sudden your air is gone, your downforce is gone, and there's nowhere to go but to the outside wall. We saw it right there, but man, is it changing now? Is that 63 is looking to the inside just slightly, and well, that's number seven is 6 laps down, gonna be 5 laps down very soon with a lot fresher tires.
Yeah, Wayne Grassi currently flying past the leaders with his fresher tires, doing it very cleanly. He didn't really disrupt the battle the leaders are having. Like, this battle is still continuing just as it was. Only difference is the 7 just happened to make his way by, wave to the leader, say, all right, I'll see you in a few more laps with them fresher tires. But we got some more lap traffic. Jonathan Delaney's going to have to dive low here to get around him. A 49 car, piloted by, I believe, Kevin Blackwell, is going to go another lap down and let the leaders by no problem. Jonathan Delaney actually gave himself a bit of a cushion for about a lap. He got a little ways ahead of Bryson, and then he got loose coming out of turn 2. And Bryson brought it down from like a 6-car length gap down to nothing again. So, looks like the Maris Hickenbottom in the pits, possibly getting some damage fixed.
Yeah, it looks like that may be the case.
Of some sort.
Yeah, he's been in pit road for well over a minute at this point. Either he may be done or he's trying to repair a lot of damage. But that being said, I think his race is done. And, you know, he's currently 18th. And he may lose a couple more spots if he's actually done and doesn't come out. But he's going to be finishing this race plus 11. Maybe plus 10, maybe less than that. But he passed a lot of cars from where he started. So either way, I'm not really sure if you want to count that as a victory. But still, finishing better than when you started, it's always a good thing.
Absolutely, every point counts. And if you can pass a few cars and get it done, then hey, that's a good thing. Definitely every driver wants to go out and get the win, but I mean, not every driver can win. There can only be one winner at the end of the day. So if you can get a good points day, I would consider that a victory. And Damaris definitely looking to have a bit of a comeback later in this season. He said himself he's been very frustrated with the way the start of the season has gone. The cars and the setups just have not been the way he wants them to feel. And so he needs to start making up some points. And if he can pass a few cars and start chipping away at it little by little, that's progress. So battle for the lead kind of remaining the same, as Jonathan Delaney has about a 0.2 second gap over Bryson Hixenbaugh. These two have very fast cars, and they have slowly been pulling away from Cameron Stone and Kevin Steele. And right around Cameron Stone and Kevin Steele, that's going to be 83, Adam Benefiel, slowly working his way back up towards the leaders. Thing is, how difficult of a time is he going to have right here? Is he going to go 3 wide? He's going 3 wide.
You're 3 wide and 3 wide TV there for a little moment, yeah.
They go through 3 and 4. He's going to get on the bottom of Cameron Stone, but can Cam get the run on the outside? Looks like he's going to get the advantage here. He's going to be ahead of the line. That 83 man, he's strong at the bottom. Yes, can Cam do the can. Say that 3 times fast. I would imagine he probably can. At least not while he's driving.
So a good battle there for third place. Definitely a change of positions. Pretty much it's a good thing for everybody except for Cameron Stone, who's looking to lose a second spot in that exchange. But how about that? Adam Benefield finished the stage in second place. Got himself some damage trying to get that trying to get a stage victory. So he, essentially forfeited all 8 spots and started this last stage in 10th place. Remember, because there are only 10 drivers on the lead lap. Actually, 9th place, I apologize. So there are only 9 drivers on the lead lap when the stage began. So as my voice is starting to go away, Adam Benefield trying to get himself to come back and win this race strong. He's passed a lot of cars, but oh my God, guess what? Adam Benefield still hasn't passed, or what am I trying to say? He hasn't passed the most cars from where he started. That title still goes to Jacob Kraus in plus 15 and 9th place. He is currently the last driver on the lead lap. And unfortunately, I do think he may end up going a lap down before this race is done based on how stage 1 and stage 2 went. But hey, you passed the most vehicles today so far. Ain't too shabby, my friend.
Absolutely. This is a run that he needed. He had an unfortunate incident in his last race. It kind of took him out a little earlier than he was planning on. But to come back past 15 cars from where he started and keep himself on the tail end of the lead lap in a race where there's only a handful of cars on the lead lap, that's nothing to hang your head over. You know, that's a good run. That's a good points day for sure. So phenomenal run for Jacob Kraus today. And Adam Benefiel, we were talking about him a little bit there and how he's battling with Cameron Stone. And he talked about how he gave up 8 positions to get that damage fixed. And initially I was going to say, man, I'm not sure getting 15 seconds worth of damage repaired is worth giving up all that track position, because I can't imagine that damage was holding him back that much. But then I thought about it and I realized if Adam Benefiel was willing to go back to 8th just to repair his car and get maybe a marginally better performance out of it, that shows he is insanely confident in that car and his driving ability, and confident that he's going to be able to drive back up to the front no matter what. So almost a scary thought, you know, when somebody is willing to give up that much track position for really something seemingly inconsequential.
Mm-hmm. Confidence is the nectar for the wise men, but the fool for the... I forgot what it was. Ignore me.
It's something like that. It's close enough. Close enough. As Adam Benefiel is going to get to the bottom of Cameron Stone.
But the liquor for the fool.
No strangers. Yes, there we go. That's it. These two are no strangers. They've been battling it out for quite a while. Benefiel fell back a little bit, kind of regrouped, closed the gap back up. Now they're going to stay side by side. And that top line, man, as the 83 clips the grass that time. I'm not sure that's the best move, but hey, if it was good enough for Dale Sr., it's good enough for Adam Benefiel. As he's going to try to make a pass in the grass. That 83, as strong as the top line is, and it does seem to be the preferred line for pretty much everybody else on the track, Adam Benefiel is making that bottom line work. And it might take him a few laps, but I think you give him a little bit more time, he's going to get around this 57.
And the question is, how hard is he pushing his vehicle to do that? Is, you know, you still have one more green flag pit stop, hopefully, to do, and you have to get there. You know, this is stage 3. It is the longest stage of all the 3 stages. Of course, not by too much, but it's still couple extra laps. You know, the first 2 stages are 105 laps each. That'll take you to 210, and then from there, 210, you have to run 15 more laps to hold on, we're doing math here. I apologize. We're running 15 more laps than the other 2 stages, and you know, 15 more laps divided by 2 is 120. It's 105 plus 15 is 130. Divided by 2 is 65. So they have to run 65 laps if my math checks out. And considering the fact that I failed math 3 times in college, it probably doesn't.
Yeah, I cheated my way through math class in high school, so I'm not the guy to ask. But I think that checks out. That sounds about right. 65 laps on the tires. That's going to be a stretch, man. These guys were feeling some pretty ill effects from the tire wear, just going 50 laps on the tires. You add 15 more laps onto that run, and you're left with a bad time, I think, for a lot of these guys. But who knows? Maybe that kind of plays into Adam Benefield's advantage. We know he has one of the strongest long-run cars in the field, and if he can get a few more laps where everybody else has to run on old tires and they can't get the undercut, they can't come down pit road early, that could be a huge advantage for Benefield. Or maybe his car starts to fade after that 50-lap period. We're just going to have to wait and see, because we haven't seen a run that long yet. So I think it's kind of an unknown for not only spectators, but the drivers alike.
All right, look, Andre, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at SummerSlam.
Oh, man. Are you teaming up with Samoa Joe?
Yep.
Oh, man. That clip, the match with Dr. Steiner, promo. Was it? It's the best. I watch that weekly. It is truly my medicine. It is my life. Speaking of medicine, if you're an Adam Benefield
medicine
fan,
for the wise man, but the liquor for the fool. That's what confidence is. It's not the nectar. There you go.
There we go. If you're an Adam Benefield fan, you probably got a smile on your face right now, because Not only did he get around Cameron Stone, but he has pulled away from him, and he has closed in on Kevin Steele. And that is going to be the battle for third, I believe, as they make their way out of turn 4. I'm not sure how much defense the 24 can really play, as the 83 gets a huge run through the tribal. He's going to get to the quarter panel and then the door. Now, 24 does have that preferred line on the high side. He's going to have to try to carry that momentum out, as Benefiel does a pretty good job, as usual, sticking it to that bottom, getting a decent run out, staying at the quarter panel through 3 and 4. They're going to be side by side again, and this seems to be Adam Benefield's MO. Get to the bottom line, work him over for a few laps, get clear of him, and then once he gets clear of him, it happens every time. The guy that he passes is able to kind of throw a crossover. They get side by side, with the only difference being the guy that he passes on the bottom. But then Adam Benefield has the high line. He drives away every single time. That's what he did to Cam. It's what he did to Wayne Grassy earlier in the race before Wayne Grassy had that unfortunate disconnect. It's what he did to Preston McRae and even Dustin Hall, his teammate, earlier in the race. I mean, that has been the way he's pulled off every single overtake. And it seems like with that strategy, with those moves, nobody has been able to compete yet.
That's true, and Aaron, this could be Benefield's race after all. However, Jonathan Delaney, he did get the lead, but he isn't really pulling away too much from Hicksonball, and this is something that I noted earlier. Not just with Delaney, but I'm talking about the way this race is going. You know, the guys are splitting apart. Everybody's not splitting apart. Everybody's separating from others, except for the lead. You know, the furthest I've kind of seen is like 2 seconds, maybe 3, and that was Jonathan Delaney in the first stage. But since then, you know, everybody's been keeping tabs on the leader. They've been pretty close, and it looks like this stage 3 is not going to be any exception. As Steele and Benefield is well, there it happens. Benefield has gotten on the outside line, but wow, actually looks like Kevin Steele was able to hold on to that spot. Oh. He's loose. He's got to block the outside line. Doesn't know where to go, and he's going to choose to just push that back bumper number 24. You are not going to get that with like less than 20 to go. Less than 20 to go, he's going to try to make a hole in the outside line.
Here comes the 83 with a huge move on the bottom, sideways. I talked about it. That is how he's tried to make every pass. He works them over on the bottom, and then he gets around them. He gives them the bottom lane once he gets clear, and they'll battle it out for another half a lap. Adam Benefield usually gets the slingshot on the high side. This time, he was going up against Kevin Consistency Steele, and Kevin wasn't having any of that. He got to the inside lane. He actually had enough of a run to get clear again, so he reclaimed that third position. And the battle continues as the 83, seemingly desperate to get around this 24. He's throwing moves all over the track. He's going low. He's going high. He's driving into the bumper of the 24. Anywhere he can put his car is where he's going, just trying to make this pass. Now he's got the middle line, the 24, a little bit slow on the high line. Almost thought Adam Benefield was going to get clear there for a moment, but he didn't quite. So they're going to stay side by side down the backstretch. A huge run from the 24. And this battle is not cooling down.
Battle's not cooling down, but they're also not really losing too much time to the leaders. They have lost some time, about a couple tenths of a second, as he's gonna block him. Not quite there, as Benefield almost was able to clear the 24 fully and even throw a block, but that 24, as resilient as he is, drove it all the way to the inside and was able to get to his side. But it looks like, yeah, what's happening is what you talked about. 83 gets to the outside line, and once he's there, it's sayonara.
Yeah, he pulled it off again. And at 24, I don't think it was so much that Benefield threw a block. He did get clear of the 24, but the 24 did not lift. He had a huge run, and he figured, all right, either he's going to move or I'm going to move him. And that's what happened. Unfortunately, it didn't quite play out quite to the 24's advantage. He kind of just gave the 83 a bit of a speed boost coming through that quad oval. And now Adam Benefield is going to be up into the podium, P3, currently a 2.5 second gap to Bryson Hicksonbaugh and a 3 second gap to the leader. It seems like a big gap, but he is flying right now. He's got a lot of time to close that gap. We're on lap 252. We're racing all the way to lap 325, so we haven't even quite got to the green flag stops for this stage. That'll shake things up a little bit, and then he's got a whole nother green flag run to try and close the gap. As you can see, the intervals there between Delaney and Hicksonbaugh. Hicksonbaugh is actually closing in little by little. 200ths of a second one lap, 100th of a second the next lap. And like I said at the stage 1 end, you know, those little differences in time, those little hundredths of a second, they don't seem like much, but if you consistently gain that much, they add up over time.
It looks like since Benefield went past Cameron Steele, Cameron Stone was able to go by him no problem. It probably it's gonna frustrate Adam Benefield to know that Cameron Stone just pretty much went by him in like less than a lap, considering that all that challenges that he had to get to the 24. But that's the downside you get is I swallowed some spit and it kind of went down the wrong hole, and I really had a hard time saying that last sentence.
It happens to the best of us. Speaking of the best of us, I think the best car on the track right now is Adam Benefield. Last time around, he closed in 0.3 of a second to the leader in a single lap. That is an immense amount of speed. And as they crossed the line this time, he just chipped out another 0.2. So that 83 car is on rails. He's exactly 2 seconds behind Bryson Nixonbaugh. And again, 2.5 from Jonathan Delaney, closing the gap rapidly. Honestly, if he keeps up this pace, he might get there before this pit cycle starts. You can see the intervals right there. 1/10 of a second there, another 10th, and then nearly 2/10 there. So just a crazy amount of pace out of this 83 as he's going to navigate the number 12. Lap down car. Gives up the position, no problem. Got by the 12, got by the 83. And yeah, he's going to continue his hunt.
And what a hunt it is indeed if Benefield can get this win. If he gets this win, it's not really going to be on a dominating fashion. You know, Benefield's he's had an up and down day. He's been working his way up front and has to drop back and then work his way up front and drops back. It hasn't been a traditional Adam Benefield race today, and if he gets a win, then it won't be a traditional win for him. He's going to have to really earn that win tonight for sure.
It would be earning it. I mean, he's driven his way through the field multiple times, and I mean, he has just been in traffic this whole race. I mean, you've had Jonathan Delaney and Bryson Nixonbaugh pretty much running up front all night long, and they kind of been trading off the lead. You know, John leads for a little while, Bryson leads for a little while, and either way, you know, both these guys are usually in clean air, running their own little race, not really worried about the cars behind them too much. Only thing they really got to think about is lap traffic. And then you got Adam Benefield, who has just been constantly battling drivers. He's been battling the Apex boys the entire race. He was battling with Dustin Hall. He was battling with Wayne Grassi earlier. I mean, he has just been in the thick of it all night long. And every single time, he always rises to the top. I mean, he has passed so many cars tonight. He's not the biggest mover in terms of where he qualified to where he stands, but he may well be the driver that has passed the most cars.
For sure, indeed. It may not be the most cars from where they started, but I think Adam Benefield does have that locked down for sure in terms of overall quality passes and passes on others.
He's brought that down to 1.9 seconds to the leader last time around. So it was 3 seconds. Now we are closing in on just a 1 second gap. Bryson Nixonbaugh being 0.3 seconds behind the leader. That is going to put Benefield at about 1.6 seconds back from Bryson. So closing the gap on both these guys, like Carlos said earlier, got to wonder how much the 83 is kind of using up his equipment. As you can look at the intervals between Delaney and Nixonbaugh, looks like Nixonbaugh has actually been faster in 3 out of the last 5 laps. So definitely closing the gap there, and both of those drivers being gapped by Adam Benefield. Benefield gets really loose out of turn 2. That was a scary moment. Benefield actually fell back about a 10th last time around. So I don't know, Carlos, if with him losing a 10th and getting really loose right there, I'm thinking maybe that 83 used up his tires.
It's going to be a challenge indeed. It's, I don't know. Usually in a mile and a half races, it's in these cars, it's kind of easy to see who's going to win tonight. I have no clue. It could be Delaney, it could be Nixonbaugh, it could be Benefield, it could be Stone, it could even be Steele. Anything can happen.
Yeah. It's been a very up and down roller coaster race for a lot of these guys, and it seems like one driver finds something and another driver starts to fall back, but then the driver falling back finds something too. He works his way back up front, and it's just been happening all night, this revolving door effect. And I say Adam Benefield dropped back a 10th. Well, he actually is now gaining again. So he had one bad lap. Now he's back in form, down to 1.7 second gap. He was up 2 seconds again.
Yeah, what about Cameron Stone? I know Kevin Steele's been dropping back, but Cameron Stone, he's kind of staying within that 2-3 second range. I don't know. Let me take a look at his lap times and then just see how he may be doing. Let's get his lap times and compare him to the leader. That's Delaney and Stone. Let's go ahead and pull this up and see what it looks like. You know, Stone's running some good lap times too.
Yeah, he is actually about a tenth of a second
He ain't no
on
rock.
average faster than Delaney. He is flying right now. He's actually I'm looking at his lap times versus Adam Benefield. He was a tenth slower than Benefield last time around, but the lap before that he was actually faster than Benefield. So maybe not quite as consistent as Adam, but he definitely has pace, and he's got a bit of a car with him there. I think if he were to get a caution, or maybe if he played his strategy cards right here in this green flag run or green flag pit sequence we're going to see very shortly, he could close this gap and maybe have something for the leaders for sure.
Now, speaking of green flag pit stops, what happened last stage is we saw Jonathan Delaney try to stay out as late as he could, and that did result in him having to. He lost a lot of spots. Was well over 8 seconds behind the race leader. The question is, will he do this again? It's actually Big Hicksonball's down pit road. He's gonna go down first. Benefield's also going down pit road. This is beautiful for these two. It sucked for Delaney, Stone, and Steele for sure.
Yeah, you don't want to be the last guy down pit road for sure. And I kind of wonder if Benefield was planning on pitting that time, or if he saw the 63 slowing down and said, "All right, I'm gonna
Guarantee
try
he
to match
wasn't.
him." I'd have to agree. I think that was a "oh man, he's pitting now. I got to pit" kind of moment there. So both these drivers making their way into their pit stalls, and neither of them sliding out of their stall, neither of them too close to the wall.
Oh, there
They're
goes
gonna go
Delaney.
ahead and get their car services. I believe that's Ryan McDaniel sliding his tires on pit road entry as
I
Delaney
gotta
enters
say,
behind him.
I got a very, very brief glimpse on that entry for Delaney. I think he slowed down way too much. He also took a little bit of an arc. He was kind of the middle. He was kind of in the middle of the track when he went down pit road. As a matter of fact, let's see if we can go ahead and quickly pull this up. Can I pull this up here? I am looking for Stone.
Try
No,
and
sorry, not Stone.
identify
Delaney.
what happened with Delaney on his pit road entry. Maybe a little bit slow, although I think it might have just looked slow because the 99 really sailed it into pit road and kind of locked up his tires. So in comparison,
I
that
don't
9
know.
car was kind of, he got a little sideways on the transition there. It looked like an all right entry to me, but yeah, he
All right.
might have given up a little time. We'll have to wait and see. Here he comes
There
out
goes
on
Hicksonbaugh.
track. There's Bryson Hicksonbaugh. Where is
New
Adam
race leader.
Benefield? That's the question. There is Benefield. And he's going to cycle out pretty much right with Benefield. So this could be a developing battle.
It's Delaney just could not afford to pit a lap behind them, and unfortunately that's what happened, and he lost the lead. It's Cameron Stone locking it up a lot going down pit road right now. That'll give the lead to number 24, Kevin Steele.
Cameron Stone not going to lead the lap. He came down pit road before the start finish line there. So Kevin Steele is going to lead that lap, and that will give him the lead for the first time of the race. Should note Cody Bird's down pit road as well. Just Chad Edwards as well, making his way out of pit road. Looks like a few others joining them. That's Matthew Gaskins, Brandon Hastings, Brandon Pierce, all making their way out of pit road. Only a few stragglers left that have yet to pit, I believe. Kevin Steele, Dustin Hall, Mason Lowry, Preston McRae. Those
Wow,
four
new
drivers
fastest
are the only
lap, Bryson
ones.
Hicksonbaugh.
Bad news
Saw
for
it
the
pop up
field.
there on
Bryson
the screen,
Hicksonbaugh
yeah. And
getting
he
the fastest
currently,
lap.
he currently would be the leader once everybody cycles through. He's the first one to have pit lap 264. Everybody else is either in pit road or has last pit on lap 212, which was that caution pit stop.
And Bryson didn't just set the new fastest lap, he demolished the fastest lap. I believe Jonathan Delaney had it before with a 30.1, and Bryson ran a 30.0. So actually a 10th up on the next fastest lap of the race, I believe.
Actually,
This
Hicksonbaugh
time around.
previously had the fastest lap.
Oh, so he took it from Delaney earlier in the race. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Bryson Hicksonbaugh is running a 30.1 now, so he ran 130.0, and now he's kind of back up in the 30.1s. But that car looks dialed in right now. I can tell just watching it go through the corners that whatever he found with the pit road adjustments, he seems to be liking it. But I got to say, man, I don't think you can count out anybody else. You can't count out John Delaney. You can't count out Adam Benefield. You can't even count out Cameron Stone. All these drivers could have something up their sleeve. Jonathan Delaney, we've seen his pace kind of fluctuate all night. Sometimes he's got the car that looks like it's going to win the race, and then sometimes he drops back a little bit. But right now, running pretty steady in P5, waiting on a few holdouts to come down pit road. Effectively, the leader is Bryson Hicksonbaugh with about a 2-second gap over Jonathan Delaney.
All right, so
Actually, about 3 seconds last time.
Quick question. All right, at some point, Delaney did get past Benefield. Kevin Steele, he's still running out there. What do you think his strategy is? Why would you continue to run laps knowing that it's going to hurt you in the long run?
Well, you know, if Cam was expecting cautions and he was expecting this to not go green to the end, I mean, he has teammates with Kevin Steele. Maybe that sentiment is kind of radiating throughout the team, whereas none of them are expecting this to stay green, and maybe they were banking on getting a yellow flag. Unfortunately for them, we haven't seen it, and really the entire field is kind of strung out right now. So the chances of a caution, I think, right now are minimal. So oh my goodness, a close call between Delaney and Wayne Grassy. Wayne making a last-minute decision to pit, almost getting rear-ended by the number 9. That was scary. Oh my goodness, that was close. But back to Kevin Steele again. I think he was just holding out for a caution, holding out for a hero, and it just didn't happen. Not
Here's
yet.
Here's a replay.
Taking a look at the replay. Wayne Grassy.
Oh my God! From
got
all
a
the way
big
up
lead
high.
over the 9 car, and coming down multiple lanes. I'm not sure that was the move to make, but hey, I'm in the booth, not driving the car, so who am I to judge? Yeah. Wayne Grassy getting his way down pit road, getting that car serviced, and just trying to recover. You know, he had a really great run earlier in the day, and then that disconnect really set him back quite a bit. I believe he is currently being scored in 17th. And there goes Kevin Steele. Didn't get the caution he was waiting for.
It's not going to work, unfortunately. See, maybe dropping. Oh, you know, good thing for him though. There's not too many people on the lead lap, so he's not going to be losing too many spots. He may come out of this 7th, 8th, maybe 9th, but that's still a lot better than, you know, other tracks where there's more drivers on the lead lap, and he could be going from 1st to 15th.
Right, and that might have played into his strategy of staying out. He probably figured, if I stay out longer than anybody else, and I do get a yellow flag, then my chances of winning this race are just about double. And if I don't get the yellow flag, and I lose some positions, pretty much the furthest back I can go is P9, which is still a top 10, still a good points day. Honestly, that situation for him kind of looked like a win-win.
Yeah, and something else that's driving that, we haven't talked about it too much. A reason why he feels comfortable kind of doing these strategies that, like, 99 out of 100 times they'll fail, but that one time they'll succeed. But the reason he's come to doing that, he's locked into the playoffs. He won Daytona.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to point his way in. He's good. As long as he shows up, he's good.
He's locked in. He's got the playoff points, I believe, for the stages and the win, of course, at Daytona. So he's got not only locked in, but a little bit of an advantage with those playoff points. So that kind of takes a lot of stress off your season when you win that early. Come out at Daytona, lock yourself into the playoffs, and then all you got to worry about at that point is staying in the top 30 in points. And at this point, I mean, if he fell out of the top 30 in points, that would be there would be something catastrophically wrong. Like his computer would have to catch fire, and then every computer within a 100-mile radius would have to be sold out so he couldn't get back on the service. Like, that's basically what would have to happen. So he can kind of afford to take these crazy strategies, like you said. If it doesn't work out, he has a bad race, doesn't finish as well as he could. Oh well, I'm still going to be in the playoffs come fall time.
Yeah, and something to point out, he's currently 9th, but the car position ahead of him in 8th is Preston McRae, and Preston went down pit road lap 268. Kevin Steele went down pit road lap 274. So Kevin Steele's going to be passing Preston, no problem. That's going to happen. He's not too far ahead. He's only, but actually, as a matter of fact, when I started talking about it, he was over 1/10 of a second, like 1.2 tenths of a second behind him. Sorry, 1 second, 0.2. Now he's 0.6. He's almost half a second behind Preston McRae. Kevin Steele's going to pass it, no problem. He may even pass Jacob Krause. Jacob Krause is right there. So, that's 7th. Mason Lowry is further ahead, almost like a half of a backstretch ahead. That's not going to be... He may be able to get to Mason Lowry. Dustin Hall in 5th is about 2 seconds ahead of Mason. So, that strategy, Kevin Steele, he may be looking at a top 5 finish after all. There's plenty of laps.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's got the time. He could continue this charge through the field. He's got fresher tires than just about everybody in front of him. That could work out. He could end up getting a top 5, which is about where he's been running all night anyhow.
And there he goes,
So,
3 wide.
you know,
3 wide, 2 in 1 spot.
Oh.
He passed them before he even got to the corner, essentially.
Wow.
From 9th to 7th.
And that's the power of fresh tires, man. To be able to carry that speed out of the corner and then all the way down the straightaway, where you can get the run and pass them before you even get to the corner. That's a fast car, and I think honestly,
not to mention he was in like the low entry for the corner. That's a bad angle to take that corner, but he pulled away.
Yeah, you don't want to enter too shallow. That car is going to get tight real quick, but he still was able to make it stick, like you said, and he's been pulling away from these guys, gaining on the cars ahead. And the more we look at the strategy he played, it really was a win-win. Like, he couldn't lose in that situation. Either it helped him win the race, or he was still going to get a good run here. So Kevin's consistency steal, we call him that for a reason. He's working his way back up into the top 5. We'll keep an eye on him. Mason Lowry currently running P6. He's the next target for Kevin Steele, Dustin all ahead of him. Cameron Stone, 10 seconds behind the leader. And then after Cameron Stone, you get up into Adam Benefiel. And all 3 of the podium drivers right now are pretty much the closest on track. You've got only 2.8 seconds from Bryson to Adam. Jonathan Delaney is in the middle, about a second back from the leader. And right now, those gaps, Carlos, are kind of stagnating. John has remained about a second behind Bryson Mixenbaugh. Adam Benefiel has remained about 2.8 to 3 seconds behind Bryson as well. So the question is Adam conserving his equipment? Is he waiting for the right time to strike? Or has Bryson found something and that clean air is helping him maintain that lead?
That clean air is definitely doing a lot, but the fact that Bryson went down pit road 1 lap ahead of Delaney and they were already close enough to begin with, that was a deal changer. And I really do think that Delaney kind of took his time going down pit road. That being said, Delaney's pit lane time was a second faster than Hixenbaugh's. And so this proves what I was talking about. Delaney's pit lane time was a second faster than Hixenbaugh. His pit stop time was 0.2 of a second slower than Hixenbaugh. Yet he was about 4 seconons behind Delaney. Sorry, he was about 4 seconds behind Hixenbaugh when everybody merged back together. Now you're gonna gain some time, but you're not gonna gain 4 seconds in 1 lap just because you went down pit road earlier. He gained 4 seconds because of that, and because he drove it into pit road harder, and Jonathan Delaney kind of took it a little bit easier going into pit road.
Right, and maybe John is taking it easy into pit road because he knows he's got that coveted first pit stall where once he's done with his car service, he can just get on the throttle and go right out of the pits. He doesn't have to worry about maintaining his speed. He doesn't have to worry about, merging out into the correct lanes so that everybody else can see their pit stalls. Just hit the gas and go, and that helps your time a little bit, whether you're under caution or under green. So, yeah, he could have been taking it easy on pit road and just kind of relying on that. And he is closing the gap right now, Carlos. He went from 1.5 seconds back to Bryson. Now he only has to make up 0.9 seconds. So he's closed in a few tenths over these last few laps.
Trying to take a look and see what it looks like. They look like they're trading lap times, but the lap times that Delaney is faster at, they're faster than the lap times that Hixenbaugh's faster at.
Absolutely. You can see a couple laps where Delaney was a tenth of a second faster, and then where Bryson was faster, it was only like a hundredth of a second each time. In one case, 7/1000ths of a second, which is it's nothing compared to the tenths that Delaney is making up when he is faster. We're riding on board right now with that number 9. That's the number 4, Chad Edwards, ahead of him. That's the lap car. He's gonna have to try to get around him. But Bryson, you can see from the onboard, he is there. I mean, he's within sight, and I think Delaney's watching that car intently. He is on the move as he makes up another tenth that lap. He's gonna run down the leader. The question is, can he make the pass? And another factor that we're not really talking about is the fact that Adam Benefiel is also closing the gap to the leader. Right now, he is only about 2.4 seconds back. A few laps ago, it was a 3-second gap. So John Delaney and Adam Benefiel both closing in on Hixenbaugh. And if they close in at around about the same time, that could be a 3-way battle for the lead all the way to the end.
And that'll be good for people like Cameron Stone, who's even further back, although I don't really think Cameron Stone's going to be much of contention. But something to note is a new 5th place driver battling actually for 5th place right now. Kevin Consistency Steele, looking like he's very strong enough to contend and hold on to a 5th place finish, the very minimum. Now, here's the thing. He's got 5.5 seconds to Cameron Stone, who's in 4th place. Realistically speaking, I think it's possible he can get to Cameron Stone and maybe even pass him. But I don't think he's going to be able to get 3rd or higher. I think because from there it's another 8 seconds. I think that's just too much. I don't think there's enough laps. But Kevin Steele can try.
Yeah, he can give it a shot. He can definitely just throw a wrench at the strategy, push that car as hard as he can, see how it plays out. But right now, looking at Jonathan Delaney, he has closed the gap. He is pretty much at the bumper of Bryson. Now he's got to try to fight through that dirty air and get the overtake.
And these guys are going hard into these corners, lap in and lap out. Jonathan Delaney's there, but the question is, does the dirty air effect, is that already going on? Is he being affected by it? Take a look at the last couple laps and see. No, Delaney's there. He's faster. It's all green across the board. And he's smelling those oranges, and those oranges, they're running a little expired right now.
Absolutely. You got to think Jonathan Delaney does have 1 lap fresher tires than Bryson. That doesn't sound like much, but it does make a difference. Even just 1 lap fresher tires are a little bit quicker. Now that's an advantage that Delaney could kind of throw away if he were to push his car too hard trying to pass Bryson. If he runs the bottom too much, cranks on that wheel, skids the tires, it's going to start to level out with Bryson's car and Adam's car as well. I mean, Adam pitted at the exact same time as Bryson. So he's got the advantage of fresher tires right now. He's just going to have to try and conserve them and make sure he keeps that advantage, while at the same time trying to make an overtake for the lead. It's kind of a balancing act. It sounds like something that is kind of impossible to do, but John's a very talented driver, and he has been closing the gap rapidly. The dirty air is affecting him, it would appear. He did drop back a little bit that lap, 1.4 seconds, or 0.14 seconds, not a whole second. That would be disastrous for Delaney, but he's definitely giving it a shot. And while that's going on, Adam Benefiel, 1.9 seconds back, so he's actually started to stagnate a little bit, but he is still closing little by little, and I think he's got time. I mean, we're on lap 295. We have 31 laps remaining, well, 30 and a half, I guess, since we're on the backstretch, but plenty of time for Adam Benefiel to make up that gap, and plenty of time for Jonathan Delaney to try and make this overtake for the lead.
Now, one of the things I'm noticing is that, except for this last lap, Delaney isn't really doing much to change lanes. You saw like 2 or 3 laps in a row, he was running that outside line, same line that Hixenbaugh was running. And while it was working, he got too close, and we saw that his lap time suffered. There you go, lap 293, it suffered. These last 2 laps, he's been changing it up. He's been running where Hixenbaugh is not, and it's been working for him. You see right there, enter the corner, they're about the same. But in the middle of the corner, except for this one, I think he washed up too much there. For the middle and everything, he starts dipping down lower than Hixenbaugh, and it was starting to work. It didn't work that time by. I don't think he really nailed that turn 4, but that turn 1 and 2 was really good. This time by, they're kind of almost running the same line, but you can just see they start the same. Oh, he goes loose there. They start the same, but then Delaney just like forces his car to go even lower than Hixenbaugh. Into 3 and 4, they continue. Hixenbaugh was Delaney was near the bottom that whole time to begin with, and I think this last lap is going to go for Hixenbaugh as well. And then Delaney got loose and lost too much time, and yeah, there's another almost 0.2 of a second. That's a lot of time. He's gone from 0.2 of a second back to being 0.4 of a second. Delaney, I don't know if he's trying to just pushing his car too much, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing from Delaney. He may just be killing his tires before he gets to the end of the race.
Yeah, I think he's in a bit of a tough spot right now. You mentioned how he was running the same line as Bryson for a couple laps, and he suffered because of it. And that is usually how it works. If you're in the dirty air, you run the same line as the car ahead, your lap times aren't going to be very good. That's why you got to try to change it up, get the car down low or wherever the car ahead of you isn't, and usually your lap times will get a little bit better. But I think with Jonathan Delaney, that car is set up for the outside line. That's where he has to run. We've seen when he goes down low, the car doesn't look very comfortable. He seems to be getting a little bit loose and scrubbing away some speed in the center of the turn. So he's kind of in this catch-22 where he has to run the high line, but the high line's ineffective because Bryson's up there. So his only choice is to try to run low, but that's no good either because that's not what the car is built for. So just a tough situation, I think, right now for Jonathan Delaney.
And to point out, there's currently one driver that's still out there running 31.9s, and it's not the race leader. It's your 5th place driver, Kevin Steele. His last lap was a 31.99. The leader's last lap was a 32.18.
Wow. So that is the difference in just about, I think, 7 lap fresher tires roundabout.
Around there,
I don't know exactly how long.
264 to 274. Oh, 10 laps.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is the difference on those tires, man. Kevin Steele is on a mission right now. And honestly, I think if he keeps this pace up right now, he's got a 13-second gap to the leader. He was at a 29-second gap to the leader when they exited the pits. And he's brought it down to 13. Call me crazy, but we got about 25 laps of racing remaining. He very well might get up to Benefield for 3rd place if he keeps this pace up. Now, that being said, I do expect the tires to equalize pretty soon here. Kevin Steele
I don't think he's going to get a Benefield.
the wheels off that thing. And
he's for sure going to get to Cameron Stone.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get to Cameron Stone. He's not that far behind his teammate there. It's about 2 seconds between them. But it's just going to be a matter of how much does he burn up his tires, how much is left in the tank once he gets around, not the gas tank, but the proverbial equipment tank, and once he gets around his teammate. The number 12 car making his way off pit road. I just noticed that, so I'm not sure if that was a planned pit stop or not. You can see him on the onboard cam with Kevin Steele making his way into 3 and 4. Quickly closing that gap to his teammate. Speaking of gaps, Bryson Nixonbaugh has opened that gap up. It was down to 0.2 seconds at one point. Looked like Jonathan Delaney started to fall back a little bit, and he has continued to fall back. Now 1 second between 1st and 2nd place. And Adam Benefield, 2 seconds back from the leader, well, 1.9 seconds actually. He is slowly closing in on Jonathan Delaney. Now, this is actually a very good scenario if you are Bryson Nixonbaugh, because give it a few more laps, and Benefield and Delaney are going to be battling it out, and they're going to be costing themselves times in doing so. And that's going to allow Bryson to try to drive away, and by the time Benefield gets ahead or Delaney is able to fend off Benefield, whoever comes out on top in this pending battle, by the time that happens, Bryson will likely have driven away to quite a lead with not many laps remaining in the race. So this is a good situation if your name is Bryson. Maybe not such a good situation if your name's Delaney or Benefield.
Yeah, indeed. It's just looking like everything's going Bryson's way right now. He was there, but I just think he may have killed his tires just trying to get the lead. He's still loose there. I don't know. I think his tires are gone. I think he worked too hard trying to get to that inside line. It was working. It was really working, but it just took too long. Benefield's there, and at this point, just Bryson's just pulling away from even Benefield now. Take a look. Kevin Steele's last lap was a 32.1. Bryson Nixonbaugh 32.2. So Field's still faster, but it's starting to even out.
It's equalizing now. Jonathan Delaney, I think you called it, Carlos. I think he burnt his tires up trying to make that pass. I mean, we were watching him go through the corner, and we both kind of reacted to it. We were both like, oh no, he got really sideways in turns 1 and 2, and it seems to just keep happening for that number 9 as we ride on board with Adam Benefield. He has now reached Jonathan Delaney. These guys are about 1.5 seconds back from the leader, and they're going to be duking it out for the 2nd position before long. Adam Benefield taking a high line, which is actually good for him. The fact that Jonathan Delaney seems to be running that low line, that allows Adam Benefield to run the top line, not be in that dirty air, and get the huge runs coming down the straightaway. So going into 3 and 4, you can see that closing rate is crazy. How much deeper the 83 sent it in.
Delaney's going to finish 3rd again.
He might. He very well might.
His car is too loose. When you run on the inside, your car can get tight. When you run on the outside, your car generally gets loose. His car's loose on the inside. He can't really touch that outside line right now.
Ooh, a huge run down the straightaway. Where does he go with it, though? Nowhere. He's going to get on the bumper of Adam Benefield. I kind of thought for a minute he was going to try to get down to the bottom lane, but maybe his car is just not stable enough down there.
I think he
didn't feel
knows.
comfortable with it.
I think he knows he doesn't have anything right now for Benefield and Hixenbaugh. Benefield, though, even passing Delaney, gained a little bit of time on Hixenbaugh. He was like 2.2. Now he was 1.9 around the 2-second mark. Benefield may still have something for Hixenbaugh. Their last lap was 0.26 to a 0.29 advantage going to Hixenbaugh. Kevin Steele, still running faster lap times than Cameron Stone, so that could still be happening. Although Kevin Steele isn't really gaining too much on Stone now. Like I said, he'll get to him, but I don't know if he's going to be able to pass him now.
Yeah, that'll be the question. And going back to Adam Benefield, I think this kind of spells disaster for Bryson, because I mentioned earlier, but Bryson was kind of relying on Delaney and Benefield battling it out and being side by side for a little while. That didn't happen. Adam Benefield, he got to the number 9, Jonathan Delaney, and Delaney said, all right, I know you're a little bit faster. I ain't got nothing right now. Go ahead and take it. He handed that over incredibly easy, and that didn't hold up Adam at all. I mean, Adam, he lost, I think you said, what was it exactly, 0.03 of a second he lost on the lap where he made an overtake. So we know Adam's fast right now. He just closed in another 10th that lap, down to 1.7 seconds. If he keeps that pace, he will definitely get to Bryson before the end of the race. We got about 14 laps of racing remaining in this event. And Adam can get there. Question is, can he make the pass? Because it seems like, Carlos, the longer these runs go on, the harder it is to pass.
That's true. I can't wait to see if Benefield can. I think Benefield can get there, but it could be. I don't know. I still think this could end up being Hixenbaugh's race. Because, look, we saw the same exact thing with Delaney. He would run faster lap times than Hixenbaugh. He would get there, but then he couldn't do anything. He tried to pass, and he just couldn't really make it work. Of course, Benefield has a long-run car. We also saw Hixenbaugh having a long-run car. Even in stage 1, we saw Delaney starting to drop back towards the end compared to the other two. So we kind of knew that Delaney probably wouldn't be able to do anything unless he got the lead. He didn't get the lead, and he's dropped down to 3rd. Now, the question is, will Benefield be able to have something? I don't remember if Benefield was faster than Hixenbaugh in stage 1. I think Hixenbaugh was faster, but right now Benefield is gaining. But the question is, will he have the tires to make something work, and will he be able to pass quickly before the tires go out?
Yeah, it's about 1/10 of a second that he's gaining per lap. It's 1.4 seconds now, as we have about 12 laps of racing remaining. He's going to get there towards the tail end of this race.
Oh,
He's
that's a
only
bad
gonna
corner.
have a little bit
He got
of time.
tight.
Ooh, yeah.
He got off the
called it.
throttle
He
2
got way
times.
tight. And you never want to do that. When you got to blip the throttle a second time, you know you messed up. So we'll see exactly what the lap times shake out to be as he makes his way out of 3 and 4. I'm curious to see, does he gain with that little bit of a bobble?
Maybe a second and a half.
He lost 0.1 seconds, so
0.1.
actually dropped back a little bit.
Also, I said a second and a half. I meant 1/10 of a second.
I did the same thing earlier. I said it was like 1.4 seconds. We're truly professionals. Adam Benefield, I think he might have pulled a Delaney. He might have burned up his tires just trying to close this gap, because I'm looking at it and he's still fast. Don't get me wrong. He might have closed in on Bryson this lap. We'll see when he crosses the line.
Well, I like to point out, Delaney didn't kill his tires closing the gap. He killed his tires trying to get the lead. He was there.
Yeah, I mean, he was there. He was trying to make the overtake, and unfortunately, it took so long to try to make that overtake. He had to really pinch that car down on the bottom so much that he ended up wearing the tires down, unfortunately. But Benefield, I think he did something similar. Just with the way these lap times are looking now, he only gained about 0.03 of a second last time around as he crossed the line. This time for lap 317, he actually dropped back another 10th. So Bryson now picking up the pace.
Yeah, a couple laps ago we saw all greens across the board. Now we're starting to see, it's still more green than red, but we're starting to see some more reds happening.
Yeah, he might be using up his tires, and
this one's going to be a red lap for sure. Yeah,
he blipped the throttle quite a bit there. And B-Hicks, on the other hand, had pretty good lap. Bryson Hickenbaugh crosses the line. Lap 3:18, as does Adam Benefield. There's the difference.
I think that's it. I think that's it for Benefield.
Yeah, he seems to have used up his equipment. We'll have to see. I mean, it ain't over till it's over, but Bryson Hickenbaugh right now able to maintain this gap pretty much exactly, and he's only got a few laps to go.
He's pulling away.
Lap 3:18 out of 3:25. If he continues to pull away little by little like this, that's pretty much it. I mean, he's just got to stay consistent.
0.1 of a second.
Yeah, he's
almost
flying now. I gotta wonder if maybe Bryson was saving. You know, when these guys were closing in and closing the gap, maybe Bryson just wasn't showing his hand.
It could also be just the fact that Bryson wasn't really pushing in general. It's not that he was saving and he's going now. He was just running his lap times, and Benefield and Delaney, who either could have been running their no more gear and then get some help with the draft, or were pushing it. Or for sure with Delaney, he was pushing it. You saw him; they both entered the corner in the same area, and then Delaney would dip down even lower throughout the middle of the corner. So he was burning his tires getting to the inside, and it was working for a little bit. But then it took too long. He dropped back. Benefield, on the other hand, it could be similar to Delaney, but in Delaney's case, he got there. Benefield didn't get there, and he's losing time now. And just Bryson Hickenbaugh hasn't been pushing his tires. His tires are nice and clean. You know, that's what works.
And you know, it doesn't surprise me that Bryson is having such a good run here today. I mean, Bryson has been one of those drivers that's known for liking a loose race car. You know, he likes to get that car as loose as it can get, as almost on the edge of control as it could possibly be, and that's where he prefers it. And a track like Atlanta, especially after the updates to the iRacing simulator, it's loose. It is loose everywhere. It's loose on the bottom. It's loose on the top. That is exactly where Bryson thrives. So to see him with a 1.8 second lead, with only 4 laps of racing remaining, maybe not necessarily surprising.
It's looking to be a night for Bryson to shine indeed. Everybody's been questioning Bryson. What's going on with Bryson? Is he washed up? Is he done? He won 15 races last season, and he hasn't won a single race in 6 races this season. Everybody's questioning him. He's tired. He knows it. He hears it. He wants to win badly. He wants everybody to shut up. He wants everybody to know he never left. He wants everybody to know that he's going to win the championship this year, because that's what he's going to do. He didn't win it last season. He was frustrated, and he's going to do whatever he can to win this championship this year. And Bryson Hickenbaugh, I don't even want to say he's back. He never left, but he's showing his colors now.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And you got to think, you know, everybody's been questioning his performance, but his performances have mostly been top 5 runs for the most part. So it just kind of speaks to Bryson's skill and what we expect out of Hickenbaugh when, you know, just because he's not winning every single race, we're thinking, well, what's wrong with him, you know? So you're right. I don't think he ever left. This is just finally a track that really speaks to his skill set. It's something that he is very capable in, as he's going to round 3 and 4. He's going to take the white flag this time by, meaning no caution could come out if we take the white flag to ruin his fun. We're going to go on board as he crosses the line. There's the white flag. Now all he's got to do is bring it home, 4 more corners, and he's pretty much home free. Adam Benefield 2 seconds back, 1.9 technically, but as he rounds turns 1 and 2, he's going to make his way onto the backstretch. And through 3 and 4, there's no lap cars ahead of him. There's no cars behind him challenging for the lead. All he's got to do is get off that throttle, coast through the turn, and for the first time this season, Bryson Hickenbaugh is back on top at Atlanta.
I may have prematurely played that because of his sound effect.
Well, we knew he was going to get it anyhow.
Yeah.
All right, so Bryson is going to take the race win. Looks like Adam Benefield crosses the line second, and Jonathan Delaney getting a little bit tired of them third-place finishes. He's going to bring it home third. Cameron Stone, P4. Ooh, a little bit of a post-race bump between Benefield and Bryson Hickenbaugh.
Well, of course, yeah, nothing wrong with that. Celebratory.
Yeah, a little hard for a celebratory bump, but we'll let it slide. As Bryson's going to make his way to the start-finish line. Burn it to the ground, and I'm sure he's excited to get this win. First win of the season for that knee-high septic team. He's going to stop at the start-finish line. I was going to say maybe take the checkered flag, but that is not something that is in the simulator. Our post-race results in their entirety will run through the finishing grid so you can see where your favorite driver rounded out. Bryson Nixonbaugh taking the win. Behind him, you got Adam Benefield, John Delaney, Cameron Stone, Kevin Steele, Dustin Hall, Mason Lowry, Preston McRae, Jacob Kraus, and Chad Edwards is going to round out your top 10. From 11th on back, it's Brandon Pierce, Tim Rail, Cody Bird, bringing it back 13th again. Cody can't get out of those 13th place finishes. Matthew Gaskins, Kevin Blackwell, Wayne Grassy, Charles Eaton, Bryce Hoffman, Ryan McDaniel, Devin Medeiros, and I apologize again if I mispronounced that, Devin. I didn't know there was a new driver in the league. I will check in and correct that for next week. Damaris Hickenbottom, Brandon Hastings, Patrick Much, RJ Root, Chris Landrum, Brian Branham, Chandler Hayden, Jacob Adams, and we're not going to forget him, Dalton Moley, rounding out in P29.
What a race. That was, we were not scheduled to do this one, but I sure am glad we did, because that was a fun race to broadcast for sure. I know something's going on with that number 99 machine that's kind of throwing my system for a loop, so, what a race. I can't wait to talk to these guys and get their points of view. As a matter of fact, let's go see, I don't know, let's see if we can bring somebody up right now. Andre, let's go see who we can bring up and talk to.
Absolutely. Let's see if we can get our third place finisher, John Delaney. If I can find him in his chat. All right, I found him in his chat. We just got to bring him in. Jonathan Delaney, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Well, John, normally I'd just say congratulations on the top 3. It was a great points day, and you had a great car all day long, but you told me last time you're getting a little sick of these third place finishes.
Third place, not a bad finish at all. It's happened a lot this year. Bryson and Adam have been crazy fast. It's been really hard to beat them, and I feel like if I could have kept the clean air, I may have had it over Bryson. And then when I pitted a lap after him, and what I should have done was wait another 5 laps to gain an advantage on him, because one lap, fresher tires and dirty air doesn't do very much. So I learned a good bit. I feel we had a really fast car. Adam and Bryson did as well. But like you said, third place, it's nothing too much to complain about, but it's getting a little old.
I mean, you get enough third place finishes and you might just win the championship on them alone. I mean, hey, we've seen in real life NASCAR and in truck series where the champion necessarily wasn't the one that won all the races. So you've been driving phenomenally this season. It seems like really this is your breakout season. You had a good season last year. You won the Roval and I believe Talladega. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this season you're consistent. Every week, week in and week out, you're there. And we joke about you always finishing third, how you can't get out of third, but there are people that would, they would sacrifice a lot to be able to finish on the podium every single week. And so what's your secret this year? Just working on the setups a little bit harder, more practice time. What's been the secret to the breakout?
It's all that. During the off season, my team really went to work with the setups and just grinding and just putting in the work really. Before last year, I was just getting a set and doing like maybe 200 or so laps in it, just feeling it out. And at that time, I really had no clue what I was doing with the set. I was just doing random stuff with buttons. But over the off season, I learned more about setup building. I put more time into setup building and just driving the car in general. This week I probably had, I don't know, 1,500 laps of race practice, and then maybe another 500, just by driving the car itself. So it's I put a lot of time into the set, and just driving the car. It's really the key. It's just in-car time. That's really the key when it comes to with this car and iRacing in general, because the more laps you have, the faster you are. Experience. There you go. But yeah, I'm I'm done ranting about it. But yeah, I'm happy that it's working out, that putting in the effort and getting it back.
Absolutely. Carlos, got any questions or anything for John Delaney?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Well, before
I'm
we let you go,
kidding,
John.
man. Third place again. That sucks. I can't. I know it's a good finish, but you have more third place finishes than top fives this season. No, they're about the same. You have more third place finishes. It was nice talking to you, Jonathan.
I think I'm the only person that has finished in the top 10 each race. So I think, I don't know if that was what you were saying or not, but.
All right, John. Anybody you'd like to shout out or thank before we let you go?
Shout out to mom and dad, my aunt, Bob. Let's see, you guys for broadcasting this. Can't wait to go back and watch it. I'm also gonna miss you guys. I heard rumor that this was the last week that you guys are gonna be broadcasting.
Well, that was last week.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. I heard that last week too. So we'll see.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, we'll keep you on your toes. We are still for sure gonna broadcast the final 10 races and a couple other races that we have scheduled, but we may be doing more. We'll see. I'm open to it.
All right. Well, I'm open to it too. I love you guys. But shout out to the admin team, Kevin Steele, Demars Hickenbottom, everyone on DGR, Brandon Pierce, Dalton Mobley. He couldn't race tonight. He had internet issues. I like to shout out Great Lakes Motorsports. I just recently collided with them for a team. I joined them today, actually. So I'd like to give a shout out to those guys. I can't wait to drive with those guys for my iRacing career and whatnot. So shout out to them. And that's all I got.
All right, John. Thanks for your time and congratulations on the P3. And good luck going forward.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
That was Jonathan Delaney out of the booth. Now we're going to bring up second place finisher, the always colorful in the interviews, Adam Benefiel. You got a copy?
Sure.
Adam, you had a heck of a race tonight. I don't know the exact statistics, but if we're looking at cars passed in total, you got to be the top of that list. You raced your way through the field multiple times. At one point, you stayed on pit road to get a little bit of damage fixed. And I thought, man, if he's that confident, that he's going to give up 8 or 9 spots on track just to fix a little bit of damage, and he knows that car is fast, and it was. You drove your way all the way up to P2. How'd you feel tonight?
Pretty aggravated, to tell you the honest truth. Actually, what you're showing right there on the screen is what pissed me off. You got 20-lap heroes that want to race the crap out of you, and then the second you get clear, you pull them over a second. So I was pretty hot. I was pretty mad about that. Felt like that really hurt us. And I stayed on pit road to get the damage fixed from what happened on the restart between me and Bryson. It was showing. I sat there in the pits and jumped out of the car, seen I had some left rear damage from it, so I sat there and got it fixed. But overall, it was a great car. It was a fast car. It was a car that won Coke race Tuesday night, whenever the hell that was. But it was really good. It was really fast. Just needed long runs, and that's what we got. But I guess people do what they got to do to get some TV time. I guess I don't know.
And it's understandable frustration, and it's only compounded by how aero dependent these cars are. Not only people that drive hard, and they have every right to race hard and try to protect their position, but these cars, they're aero dependent. You get up behind somebody, and suddenly all of your handling starts to fade, and definitely understandable frustration. But a second place finish, you're still having a fantastic points day, and I believe you're still walking away with the points lead after today. And how do you feel going forward into the coming races?
I feel like we got a good shot to win every single race. I mean, it's just being there at the right time and executing. So, but it's not. I mean, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to deal with. We'll have to race Bryson and Delaney. It's going to be a week in and week out with those. I think this league finally. I don't know how many races we're in, but I think y'all can establish who the big three is, and I mean that's who it's going to be week in and week out, in my opinion. So I don't know what the next race is. I think it's Bristol Dirt, and that's actually something that falls into my real life background kind of racing is dirt. So that'll be fun to do, and really don't know what's going to happen there, but we'll find out when we get there.
It'll be fun to watch for sure, and definitely like you said, the big three. You, Jonathan Delaney, Bryson Nixon-Bott, you guys have been phenomenal all year, and the battles and the races that you guys have put on have been great for the spectators and just an absolute blast to commentate for sure. Carlos, before we get into the shout-outs and thank yous, anything you have to ask Adam or anything?
Adam, you had one hell of a drive for sure, and finishing second place ain't no tough task. You passed a lot of vehicles out there tonight for sure, going up and down and up and down. And if there's anything that we can take away, is there anything you would probably do different if you had to do this again?
No. I mean, honestly, I'd probably move 24 a little bit sooner if I knew he was going to do that. That's probably one thing I'd do. But I'm trying to. Getting a lot of grief on that crap, and trying not to do that, but it's just frustrating. It was a frustrating night. Really fast car that should have won the race. I put us in a bad spot with qualifying, and we just had to race. We had to. This weather right here was a little bit cool, or was a good bit cooler than what it was for the peak race, so we had to split her on the racetrack a little bit, but maybe could have changed that and helped us out a little bit more, but no, not really. Just frustrated, pissed off.
All right. Well, Adam, before we let you go, anybody you'd like to shout out or thank?
Yeah. Thanks to Team Conti guys for building, really fast race cars. WR1 sim chassis are great. Best sim chassis on the market. Roll Speed Dynamics, KR Designs, Lassiter Farms, you guys for broadcasting it. The league admin that I didn't have problems with tonight, Demarius, I'd like to thank him for all he does. Me and Kevin are probably about to have some words. And, Bryson, I guess, congrats on finally getting it done, I mean, it took him long enough to do it, and he was finally able to do it. So congrats to him.
All right. Well, Adam, congratulations on your second place, even if it was a frustrating night. Again, it was a great points day, and you put on a fun show for everybody. Good luck going forward, man. That was Adam Benefiel, a frustrated Adam Benefiel, out of the booth. Now, Carlos, here's where the fun begins. We're going to bring in our race winner, Bryson Nixon-Bott. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. Well, you finally got it done. 6th race of the season. I got to be honest, I kind of expected you to have a good night tonight. I know you've always liked a loose race car, and I don't think there was any way to describe the track conditions out there other than loose. So how'd the car feel?
Oh, it felt great. I was real glad for the cloud cover in tonight's race because that really helped us out here. I was not confident with the setup at all heading into this. I was expecting to run way behind Adam and John, but the cloud cover came in for like the first time this week, and it helped us out big time. And gave us a lot of good drive off too there and helped out a ton.
Absolutely. Late in the race, it looked like Jonathan Delaney and Adam Benefield were closing the gap quite a bit. But as soon as John got to you, he kind of started to fade. And later in the race, Benefield started to fade. Were you just kind of riding early on when they were gaining on you and you were just waiting to show your hand, or do you just have that long run speed?
No, I was just I was trying to take it a little bit easy and not completely kill the tires, but I held a steady pace for most of the night in that final stint there. It was just the dirty air. They'd get to you, and then there wasn't a whole lot they'd do. They'd have to move to different lanes, but even that doesn't quite get rid of all of it. So you just kind of sit there and hope you get the run off, but they weren't getting that, so they had to fall back after burning up their tires.
Absolutely. Carlos, got anything for our race winner, Bryson Nixonbaugh?
All race, I was saying, man, these guys are getting close to your back bumper. They're smelling those oranges, and they're a little spoiled, it looks like. But no, those oranges aren't spoiled. It's your sponsor, the Knee-High Septic Service. That's what they're smelling, and that's why they got close to you, and then they pull away all of a sudden. So looks like you got to keep that sponsor going around, because they get close to you, they want to back away.
Oh yeah, glad to have the new sponsor on board this week. We'll have them on for about half the races this year, but the rest of the field is in knee-high septic now.
So my actual question is, you've heard it week in, week out since the season began. You know what's going on with Bryson. He won 15 races last season. He's done nothing this season. You know, what does this victory do for you? Does it actually, does it make you feel better? Are those talks bothering you, or do you not care about those at all?
It always feels good to win. I knew it was coming this year. It was always a matter of when, not if. And it finally worked out tonight. But what does feel good is that this was a race that I didn't win last year. So having speed this week at a track that I didn't previously win at is really great. Gives me a lot more confidence going into the rest of the year and some of those later tracks that I didn't do too well at.
Absolutely. Well, Bryson, before we let you go, any shout outs or thank yous you'd like to make?
I'd like to say hi to all my family and friends watching. Glad to get a win for them again. They've been supporting me a lot this year and watching a lot and sending a lot of thanks. And I'm glad that I got the win in front of them. Also, shout out to my Nexus teammates for the great setup this week and working on that. Robert Miller, James Mullins, Zach Hudson, Jake Matheson, Ryan Doucette, and all the other guys working on the cup setups for the Coke Series guys.
All right. Well, Bryson, congratulations on the first win of the season. Keep them coming, and good luck going forward.
Thanks, guys, and I'll talk to you again later this year.
All right. That was Bryson Nixonbaugh, your race winner for the first time this season out of the booth. And Carlos, that is just about going to wrap up our post-race coverage. Any closing thoughts on this race?
I can't wait to be back in the production booth. No, seriously, this was a fantastic broadcast. I loved it. It's always hard for me to commentate and run the production at the same time. And today I had a blast. Andre, I had a blast working with you. The people here racing gave us an amazing show. The field got spread out, but at the same time, the field also didn't get spread out where it mattered. In the battle for the lead, I don't think the leader ever pulled away more than 2 or 3 seconds. Man, it's a challenge for sure. Delaney gave it his best. Benefield gave it his best. And at the end, Nixonbaugh was standing knee-high in his septic.
Absolutely. I definitely right back at you, man. That was a fun broadcast. I don't think I've laughed that much during a broadcast in quite a while. That was
I always like to take it easy during broadcasts that I'm commentating.
Absolutely, and it was definitely a lot better than if I were to commentate solo, which was a real possibility going into
it. Yeah, I had you going there, didn't I? You thought you were going to do this solo the whole time.
Yeah, that would have been rough, but I had a good time. It was a fantastic race.
I did the Daytona 500 solo once for a league. That was horrible. I blew up my voice halfway through it, and the rest of the race I had to pretty much commentate with a broken voice. And I I made fun of myself. I didn't hide it. It happened, and it happened, but it was fun. And today was a lot of fun. And I mean, don't get me wrong. As much as fun as it is, I'm not a commentator. I would prefer rather being in production truck.
Absolutely. Well, that's pretty much going to wrap up our post-race coverage for everybody at 3Wide TV or 3WTV, whatever you want me to call it this week, Carlos.
3White TV, that's what it always is.
And for everybody at 100% Cup Series, thanks for tuning in. Good night, everybody.